Cooper, thanks for stepping up to the line. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, Cooper, what's your full name?
My full name is Cooper Adam Fowler.
Cooper Adam. So that's your middle name and everything?
Middle name, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did ask
Full
for your full name.
yeah.
What's wrong with me? Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. But before you do that, can you tell us where we are right now?
Right now, we are in Gaylor's Innovation Center, and this is where, behind us you can see these big skids are being assembled. This is all underground PVC conduit for big feeder runs into big services for massive projects. I haven't even gotten the opportunity to be on a job that has this type of stuff. I mean, this is big stuff in here.
Yeah.
And it's really just a place where Gaylor can be more efficient and more effective, and stuff will be assembled here, manufactured here, and then sent out to job sites just so that the job can go along smoother.
Yeah.
And it's a big help. It really is. It's a great thing to have, and a lot of companies don't have something like this where, I mean, assembling these things on the job, it takes a long time. Underground in a big trench, there's safety things that go into it. I mean, it takes a lot.
Well, I would assume that you're in the trench less with this.
You
versus,
are, yes.
Yeah.
The idea.
There's a lot more safety
The
there.
idea with this is to keep guys out of the trench, so we can have a telehandler or a crane or something lowering these down in, and maybe a guy needs to be in the trench to glue them together, something like that. I'm not too sure. I haven't actually done it myself, so I can't really speak too highly on that.
You are here, and you say Gaylor or Gaylor?
I say Gaylor.
Gaylor.
People say, I don't even know which one it is. People say Gaylor, people say Gaylor. It's
within your own company.
I never know. You never know.
Okay, all right. Well, that's interesting.
I think Chuck says Gaylor.
Well, then that's how you say it.
That's how it is.
That's how you
It's
say
gotta
it.
be.
I love that. And for those who aren't listening, Chuck is your boss. So
Yes, he's the CEO.
yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about your origins, Cooper. How did you end up here wearing blue?
Well, going through school, high school, and even just grade school, I never wanted to go to college. I never had an idea of going to college, but I also didn't know what it looked like not going to college, because I grew up hating school, and I never wanted to be in class. I never wanted to do homework. I never wanted to really do anything involving school.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, what is the path I can take that involves very minimal schooling, but is still going to allow me to be successful? And one way would be to start a business, but I wasn't really looking for that kind of risk. I didn't have really any money on hand, capital on hand to just invest in something and go with it. And so I was looking into other options, and my dad was just like, look into the trades, look into plumbing, electrical, HVAC, stuff like that.
And what was your dad's experience like? What did he do?
He actually never did any of the trades. He has worked for a company called Pool Corp.
Okay.
And they're a pool distribution company. So
Okay.
they distribute all sorts of pool equipment. A lot of which I actually now see on the job, because this job that I'm doing is Fisher's Community Center.
Okay.
And I say I'm doing, but we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not running it or anything, but I see some of the stuff. I send pictures, because there's two big indoor pools there.
Yeah.
And I see some of this stuff, and I send pictures to him, and he's like, yeah, that's this and that. And I'm like, well, here's the on-the-job view of the stuff that you're selling these products, and we're installing them. And it's interesting to just have that relationship there with him. But I mean, going back to the main point, I somehow stumbled upon electrical, and I thought, let me just give it a shot. Let me see what's going on. And I read into it more, and what I learned before I had ever even put in an application for any company, because I did put in applications for multiple companies, I just did regular research, like what do electricians do, what's their day-to-day, and the big thing I learned was it's a never-ending ceiling of what you can learn and know, and you can never be the guy that knows everything. You're never going to step onto a job, know how to do everything, it's constantly evolving. Everything is growing. Yeah, I mean, it's an endless skill ceiling where you can constantly be improving, constantly be learning, and you're never just gonna be the guy on the job that does it all, knows it all. And I really like that. That really resonates with me as a person. Just being able to continuously grow and continuously get better.
And you feel what? So you're talking about your feelings and whatnot in coming into the trades. What made you choose Gaylor?
I can't even say that really anything specifically had me choose Gaylor. I really just applied to different companies, and I knew that Gaylor was a big company. I knew that they were a well-known company, but I didn't really know anything more than that. And it was really just applying to companies, see who accepted me, and Gaylor was one of the first companies to accept me. And so I kind of just dove in there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really short process getting hired. It was really simple. I really just put it in my application. A couple days later, I got a phone call, and he gave me a starting rate, and I said, yeah, that sounds good. He said, okay, we can have you in for orientation next Monday or something like that. And I was like, okay, let's see how it goes.
So what was orientation like? What did that look like? Like, if I'm a young person coming into it, I hear that, but I have no idea what that means. So what was orientation like here?
So for me, I got here at this facility. Well, not in this building, but in the other one.
Yeah.
Which is more the
There's
office
multiple
side.
buildings around here that say
Yeah.
Gaylor on them. So
Yeah.
Gaylor.
That's just like the
I'll get it right.
warehouse, storage, and
Okay.
what started as the main offices.
Okay.
And now our main office is down 69, just next to IKEA.
Okay.
But I came in here and sat in a classroom, and they talked about there was maybe 15 other guys in there, a couple girls I think too, and they talked about job sites, and they talked about everything that Gaylor stands for as a company, Gaylor's one-page business plan, and just different stuff about the company. And then we went out to the warehouse and we did some live training, where we learned how to operate a scissor lift to get our certification for that, because we're on those all the time on the job.
Yeah.
And then we also learned, and we got certified for a boom lift operation, which is that, you know what a boom lift is?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. You've done this before.
Well, I am unfortunately very familiar with boom lifts. One of my,
scary.
I actually rode one all the way to the ground once unintentionally.
You'll have
So, yeah, that was an exciting few seconds of my life that I don't care to repeat. So you got trained on how not to do that.
Yeah,
That was good.
Right. Yeah. A lot of it was just get on it. There's a bunch of controls. You're gonna just figure it out, play with it.
Yeah.
And obviously they told you how to go up initially, so you knew to go up.
Yeah.
And then they said, go ahead and do the controls. And I mean, there's pictures on there. You can see what you're doing. But that was probably the main part of orientation, was those two certifications or credentials or whatever you'd say, how to operate those two man lifts. And then also we learned, we use the bandsaws all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we learned how to properly use a tri-stand. Might even see one around here somewhere. But we properly learned how to use a pipe tri-stand, where you put the pipe in and throw the chain over and lock it down, so that pipe's not going anywhere, and you can properly, safely cut your pipe. And there was a couple other miscellaneous safety things, because that's the big thing, is making sure that everyone's safe.
Yeah.
And there was a couple other miscellaneous things, just like how to use some other basic tools, different sorts of things to expect on the job site and stuff like that.
So this is a great place for me to ask you this question. What's a tool or a piece of gear that you cannot live without?
There's a lot. I've got a lot of tools.
It becomes an addiction.
It does. It really does. You start getting things, and then your foreman sees that you've got some tools, and so they know that you can do a task. And then you see another guy using a tool and doing another task, and you're like, man, I want to kind of do that.
Yeah.
So you might get you might get a hammer drill.
Yeah.
So you can start doing work in concrete and stuff like that. And then your foreman sees, oh, he's got a hammer drill. He can go do that task. And then your arsenal of tools keeps going. And I keep thinking, I've got all the tools. Nope.
Nah.
Never.
Well, here's an electrician question for you. I'm going to ask you, what brand of screwdriver and linemen's do you have?
My main screwdriver right now is Klein. It's
right.
the 11-in-1 ratcheting. You can pull it out and change all the bits and whatever.
Yeah.
And then
when I was doing your job, that didn't exist.
I know.
It was called 11 screwdrivers.
But honestly, I think now I'm getting to a point where I'm gonna start going back to just having single screwdrivers, because I have lost those little bits so many times, where now my screwdriver that I use is no longer a Phillips, and it can only be used as a flathead, a square, star, whatever it is.
What lineman's pliers do you use?
Knipex.
I knew it.
That's basically all of my hand tools are Knipex, and it's all going to Knipex and Vera.
Yeah.
Because they're just the best.
So what's a tool or piece of gear that you can't live without? Out of all of your babies, what's a tool that you cannot live without?
My side cutters. I can't live without my side cutters, which are just, you got them in your back pocket. We're cutting stuff constantly. We're cutting tape. We're cutting wire. We're cutting whatever.
So this is an important question. Are they angled?
They're angled.
Okay.
Yes, they're angled.
Yeah. So that was what I always had. I could not. I remember one time I didn't have them with me, and I asked the guy, "Can I borrow your side cutters?" And I was like, "Ugh, this is." I was just having a conversation.
I've had the same thing. You get someone else's tools, and they're not what you're used to, and you're like, "How do you work like this?"
So, Journeyman taught me when I was young, your lineman's pliers should be able to sing to you.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
My lineman's pliers are also Knipex.
Okay. So, but do they sing? Do you know
I'm not familiar with that.
So you have to have them oiled to the point when you spin them in the air, they click together.
Oh yeah, mine do that.
Yeah.
I haven't ever oiled them, but Knipex, they just have it down where if you're holding them and you turn them like that, they're gonna open.
Wow.
Same thing with my side cuts and all the hand tools that I have that are Knipex.
Wow.
They're really good.
That's impressive.
Really good. But a pair of linemen's is gonna run you $70-$80.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's disgusting.
Which other brands, if people aren't familiar with how expensive hand tools are, you can get a pair of cheap linemen. The cheapest pair of linemen's you can get is probably $25.
And they're not worth it. Just going to tell you that right now. They're not worth it.
That's another thing. Starting out, I was told we get a tool list, which is just like a standard list of you're going to need these tools eventually, and you got to start getting them so you can do your job. And
don't worry, I'll let you know if a duck bank's going to hit you in the head or something.
There's a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah.
But I started just buying cheap tools. I was just, getting into it. I didn't know what tools were good or what I was going to have forever, what's going to last a long time. And I just started buying cheap tools, and eventually I have replaced a lot of tools, and I now have a bag of tools at home that I just call my home tools, and they're there, and I use them sometimes, but
I'll bet you when you go to use them, you can't do it. You go out to your truck and get your tools from work.
Right now, all of my tools I leave on the job site because we have a room where we can actually lock the door.
Oh, that's nice.
So, and they got cameras there. They got security. They got CCTV. So,
and you pretty much go to the same job site every day?
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
So, forgive me. Did you say what the one thing is you can't live without is?
Side cutters.
You did say that, yeah.
Side cutters.
I've been listening in this conversation. You might not think that I have, but I've been listening. So, tell me a little bit about the journey from what I would call, did you go right into first-year apprenticeship when you came to Gaylor, or were you a laborer for a little while?
I went right into the apprenticeship. So
and now you're in your fourth year. You've been through a few classes already in fourth year. You're headed towards your journeyman's. You'll be graduating next year.
Yep.
So talk to me about that process going, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4.
So I was hired right before classes started. So I was one of the lucky ones who got to just get hired and start classes. A lot of guys, because I got hired in August, and classes start in August. They start in August. And so I was hired, and I went straight into class. A lot of guys, they get hired earlier in the year, and they got to just be a helper is what we call them.
Okay.
Before you can actually become an apprentice. But I started my first year, and I liked it right out of the gate. I never
What did you like about it?
I just liked that it was very straightforward. You know,
Yeah.
you go to college, you got English, and you got whatever. I mean, it's just classes that are all. Your major might be psychology, but at least your first year in college, you're taking English and you're taking mathematics and you're taking sciences, and that's one thing that I really liked about the apprenticeship is electrical. That's all it is. It's electrical.
Yeah.
And I mean, the field of electrical is large. There's
I
a
was
lot of
gonna
stuff
say,
that goes into it. I mean,
yeah.
we got 4 years of schooling.
Yeah.
There still is
Well,
an endless amount of stuff.
Electrical is life and death too.
It is.
It really
Yes,
truly is.
Yeah, you got to know what you're working with.
Yeah.
You do.
And not that other trades aren't life and death, but it's like, you know, if you're working with electricity, there are added hazards and challenges.
There are.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So you really, you just latched right onto it.
I did.
Yeah.
I kind of fell in love with it straight away. Because I don't like wasting time. I hate wasting time. And that's what going to college and taking all those classes felt like to me, was a waste of time. Because, I mean, I've always thought going through school, like, when am I going to use this again? I'm learning science. When am I going to use this again? And I've found that a lot of stuff in electrical, I use it constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Tell me, in that first year when you're going into the program and you don't know anything, okay, so this is going to be risky. You can endanger your job and answer truthfully, or
Okay.
I'm pretty sure your job is safe.
It is.
But I love that confidence.
Yes, it is.
How was the people at Gaylor in inviting you in? Like when I was an apprentice, it was quite an interesting environment, and I'm curious, what did it look like for you? Were people wanting to help you learn? Were they frustrated with you that you didn't know?
Is this like you get on site, it's your first day on site,
Yes.
and your experience? Okay.
Yeah.
So my first day on site, this is very memorable. My first day on site, I get there, I've got no clue what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I don't know that you just show up and walk into the site. I'm texting the guy that's running the job. He's not responding because he's talking to other guys.
Right.
And eventually, I just walk into the place and I'm looking for blue hard hats.
Yeah.
And I see a group of guys with blue hard hats. They weren't Gaylor guys. They were another trade on the job that had blue hard hats. And I'm like, are you guys with Gaylor? And they're like, no, they're over there. And then I see another group of guys with blue hard hats. So I went over to them, and the first thing I see the guy that's running the job, because they're distinct. They're wearing something distinct. A lot of our guys are going to wear collared shirts and a vest that has some blue stripes on it.
Okay.
So they kind of stand out from the rest of the guys. You know who the head guy is on the job when you see the group of guys there. And so I walk over to him, and I immediately, the foreman sees me there, and he's like, are you the new guy on site? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what's your experience? I'm like, this is my first day on the job. And he's like, nice, I need a journeyman. And because he was hoping that they'd send a journeyman. And they sent the most bottom of the barrel green guy that they could have possibly gotten. And he said, I don't have a task for you. Because it was that job was, it was in its peak.
Yeah.
Where they needed
That's
guys that knew what
extremely
they were
difficult.
doing, technical stuff. And all I did my first day was sit and stand and watch. I didn't actually do anything. I watched.
Yeah.
Because they put me with basically their most skilled journeyman on the job. And I
Wow.
was basically just his hand him this tool, hand him that tool.
Yeah.
And I learned very fast that that's kind of what you do when you first get to the job, is they pair you with a guy who knows what he's doing, and you just start learning the basics. You hand him tools, and you look at what he's doing, and you learn about what he's doing, and you ask him questions. But his name was Jason. His name was Jason Morrison. He was a really good guy to work with. He was really knowledgeable. He knew a lot of stuff. He knew a lot of code references. I would point at something and I'd say, what is that? He'd tell me exactly what it is and why it's there. And he was a great teacher as well. And I think it was probably like my first 2 months that I was just kind of with him.
Yeah.
And
what a great experience to be put with someone with that level of experience.
I feel like I was very lucky to just go into it, because I feel like a lot of guys don't get the same thing where they don't get thrown in with the best guy on the job.
I think a lot of that plays to, so like my story is very similar in the sense of, I can remember working with a journeyman, and I don't know if it was my first day or not. It was most definitely not my first day.
Yeah.
My first day was in the warehouse, and it was like, inventory these nuts and bolts until you want to like scratch your eyeballs out, which only took 2 hours for me to want to scratch my eyeballs out. But I can remember working with a journeyman, and it was very much hand him this tool, hand him that tool.
Yeah.
And I made it a kind of a game in a way where it was like, okay, what's he going to ask for next?
And you try to give him the thing before he asks.
Exactly.
Yep, I did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I did the exact same thing.
I think that helped my mind and my brain in learning what he was looking at and how he was looking at it. Like, if I could see that he's going to ask me for a screwdriver. And then what happened was that made him want to give me opportunity to do stuff.
Right.
Because he's like, wow, you're attentive, you're paying attention.
Yeah, he knows that you're on it.
Yeah.
And one thing that I really wish that someone would have told me is that that's what they're looking for.
What is that? What is that? Identify that.
These guys, you think that you're going unnoticed, but you're not. If you're in the corner on your phone and you think that you're sneaky and you're hiding and they're not going to, they know.
Yeah.
They see you. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
And
yeah, if you think they don't know, everybody knows who's working and who's not.
Right.
When I was an apprentice, my phone flipped open, but I would put my phone in. Shut up. Yeah. At least I didn't say I dialed it like this. It was tied to the wall. But what I would put my phone in my lunchbox.
Yeah.
Just because, and so I would check it at break time, and I would check it at lunchtime. And I mean, I know the world is different now, but it's like, I was just talking with an apprentice the other day who he has his phone with him, but he's trained himself not to look at it while he's working. Like he listens to audiobooks or whatever when he can. But I think that you touch on something that's really important there. It's like, you're getting paid to work. And if there's not work for you to do, then take that opportunity to learn and be ready for the call.
Just do something.
Exactly.
You're getting paid to be here, and you're definitely not getting paid to be on your phone.
For sure.
The phones kill the vibe. The phones, if you're on your phone, it immediately makes everyone think that, oh, this guy's...
It's all right. You can play footsie with me. It's fine.
But the phone immediately makes people think that you're lazy. I mean, doesn't matter what you're doing on it. You could be texting your mom, hey, my first day is going great.
Yeah.
But someone's going to see you on your phone. They just walked in the room. You could have been on your phone for 4 hours. They don't know.
Well, doesn't it also make people think that you don't care?
It does.
Like, I mean, it's like, and whether that's true or not, I saw a thing that an artist did, and I forget if he used AI or what he did to do it, but he had all these photographs of people like this, but he took the phone out of the picture, out of their hand. So it was pretty revealing.
So it's just people looking at their hands.
Exactly. And I think that we don't realize, especially if you're in a meeting, you're in a group of people, put your phone in your pocket, man. That way you can actually have real conversation and engage with people.
Turn it off, too, so it's
Turn it off.
Ringing.
Exactly. So that was your first year. You go into second year apprenticeship. So you've been through a year. You've been on projects. Why are you... You're going into second year. You're in fourth year now. How was that daunting to you when you started? Like, you're like 4 years of apprenticeship.
Well, it was really, you either do this or you go to college. So I knew I was doing 4 years of something because I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want to start my own business or take some big risk or anything else. So I knew I was doing 4 years of something, and so it was really. Just got to get through another 4 years of school, and that's all there is to it.
Now, there are other companies other than Gaylor that offer apprenticeship, even throughout who they offer apprenticeship through. But you stayed here.
Correct.
So tell me about that. Why?
I like the guys I work with. I like
Wow.
I like the people I work with. One of my lead person on my job, he's on a poster over there, Zach Coverdale. He's one of the greatest guys you can work with. I mean,
What makes him great to work with?
He's on top of everything, and he knows what he's doing. He's on top of everything, and he's only he's a 5th or 6th year, so he's
Okay.
been a journeyman for a year or 2.
Okay.
And so he's still learning constantly, and I can see him learning things, and it makes me think I want to be like that. I want to be running the job, but still have to learn things in the moment and still be stressed out. And because I see him doing stuff, and he's visibly stressed out and he's sweating. But I mean, he's just a great guy to work with. He's a good teacher. He's outgoing. He's gonna make sure that you have everything you need. He's gonna answer all your questions. He's gonna try his best to answer all your questions, because he doesn't have the answer for everything. But he's a really, really hard worker.
What do you guys do when you don't have the answer?
When we don't have the answer?
Yeah, your team. What do you do when you don't have the answer?
Go to any other resource that we can possibly find, whether it's calling up our general superintendent, calling guys from different jobs, which I do a lot.
Yeah.
Just calling other knowledgeable people. It really goes to calling people and asking people who know things about what we're doing.
I think that's something that is pretty impressive and amazing to me right now in the world that we live in. When I was an apprentice, we didn't really have the ability to, like, smartphones and call someone on another job,
Right?
And take pictures of something and look at it. I really think that, because that's huge. Somebody's maybe dealing with something that you're dealing with. Maybe they already dealt with it. Maybe you can learn from something that they didn't do the way they wish they would have done it. That's pretty phenomenal.
Right.
You talk about the people that you work with, and what do you do? How do you guys handle as a team when someone comes on your team that maybe doesn't share how you feel about the phone, doesn't share how you feel about, being present at work, maybe even is difficult? How does your team handle that?
Well, I really don't have the answer, a good solid answer to that, because I'm not in on our lead people.
I don't mean
on the
leadership.
job.
I mean, so clearly there are other apprentices like you in this organization.
There are.
And you guys work together. So what is the culture? What do you feel like? How do you feel like the people? And there's not a wrong answer here, just an honest answer. How do you feel like you guys handle difficult people in difficult situations? Because they exist.
You got to try to teach them. You got to try. You got to try to work with them and tell them the same things that we're talking about. If we see you on your phone, you just look lazy. If we see you doing this or that, you just look like you have to tell people. And sometimes
isn't that hard to do?
It can be really hard to do, because you don't want to get on someone's bad side, but someone's got to do it, or else.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you feel like you guys do that?
we do.
Yeah?
We do. I've worked with. Here's a great example. I
love it.
We
Come on.
had 2 interns, same guys you see walking around here that have those yellow bands around their hard hats. And we had 2 of them on site. This was a couple months ago, and there was some simple work that had to be done, like putting cover plates on receptacles, labeling those cover plates of what circuit the receptacle is, digging a hole for a quasi box to go in, and these
I pronounce it
kids-
quasi. Just saying.
Quasi. I don't even know. It's,
We say
people
it so
call
many
it
different ways.
quasi. People call it quasi. I don't
Yeah.
know. But one day, these kids, they got told to go put cover plates on the receptacles that were on the track upstairs, because there's a big gym in this job, and then there's a track that runs around it upstairs. And they got told to go put the cover plates on the receptacles up there. And that's a very simple job. It's a pretty straightforward thing. You get the material, you go up, and you screw it on.
Yeah.
And everyone's doing stuff. The lead guy on the job can't constantly be watching over these guys and making sure that they're putting the cover plates on because he's got stuff he needs to do. And turns out that a couple minutes into these guys doing this stuff, they just started sitting there doing nothing on their phones. One guy, our lead guy Zach, went up there, and one of the kids was just on the floor sleeping.
What?
He was sleeping on the job. And the other kid was in the corner, just like slouched over on his phone, scrolling. And that's just not a good look.
No.
That's just not a good look at all. And he's like, what are you guys doing? You guys
Wow.
are here working, being paid to do work. And, I mean, we didn't have them for very long. I suspect
kidding.
I suspect either because my boss was talking to his boss saying, hey, these guys are making everything harder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
We need to do something. But they were great examples of guys that just aren't good to work with.
Yeah.
As bad. I mean, that kind of sounds bad, but it's honest.
No, well, that's what we want. We want honest.
They were difficult to work with. I was put with them to dig holes for these quasi boxes.
Yeah, you were fine. I was just.
I was put with them.
There are 30,000 different names for things in the electrical trade.
Yeah, really, they were supposed to help me dig holes because they're interns and they can dig holes. That's about all they can do, honestly.
Right.
Safety things. They're a liability. They're not 18. They're young kids.
Yeah.
It's a liability.
Yeah.
And digging a hole isn't very hard. You put the shovel in the ground and you scoop and you dig. It's not very hard. But they just sat there on their phones basically the entire time, and I ended up digging 4 holes that were, I mean, they were probably 3 foot by 2 foot by 3 foot boxes.
Wow.
And getting those in the ground, and the ground there was hard and it was not fun to dig on. But they were really no help to me. 2 guys, and I was doing most of the work, and
Wow.
that's really how it was. And I didn't want to say to them like, stop being lazy. Get off your phone. Start digging.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that guy, and so I just told Zach to do it. And I just texted him. I'm like, hey, these interns are being lazy. Can you tell them to start digging? And he did. I don't know how he does it. He's better at managing people than I am, I guess. It's just something you learn with experience because I haven't had that much experience managing people.
Well, I think you have to run to the hard conversations. They're
You
really
do.
hard.
You do.
They're really uncomfortable, but
No one wants to have them.
no one wants to have them.
No one wants to be the guy that's telling another guy that he's being lazy because it's
But if you don't, I mean, there's a way to do it with grace. There's a way to do it with kindness. But you have to have those conversations with people.
You
or
do.
The reality is they're never going to learn. They're never going to change. And it's really caring for them to have that conversation.
Yeah.
It really, truly is.
You're doing them a disservice by not being the person that steps in and says, hey, you got to change something.
Yeah.
Or else that they're going to go from job to job, job site to job site, or company to company, and they're not going to have a good time.
Yeah.
They're not going to have a
Yeah.
good time.
So tell me, you went from first year, second year, third year to fourth year. When in your apprenticeship journey? So for me, I remember there was a time where, and you already seem way smarter than I was, but for me there was a time where it's like I felt like I didn't get it, and then one day it was like, boom, there it was, and it's like, wow, this makes sense. It was like the Wizard of Oz, and the curtain was pulled back, and I saw what it was. Did that happen? Were you born that way?
You might have had the same thing as me. I, for the longest time, thought that the colors actually meant something. Like just seeing colorful wire, I thought that those wires knew what color they were and they had their own job. No, it's all the same. It's just voltage across a wire.
Yeah.
The colors are for us to know what they're doing.
Come on.
I thought for the longest time, especially with like communications and data wire, like how does that wire know what it is? It doesn't. It's
Right.
just a signal on a wire.
Yeah.
And then once that was kind of funny because I felt really stupid in that moment. I'm like, did I really think that those wires?
So what was that like?
They knew what they
all
were?
of a sudden, one day you're like, oh no, this is how that works. Yeah.
I think that was it for me. And
Does it
was
just
kind of funny?
Does it just you feel like it just unlocks with time?
Yeah, it does.
So for me, it was conduit, and is what I mean by
Conduit's a
that.
tricky one. I love
So
conduit.
I do too. I would walk into the warehouse, and I remember my first few months at work, and I'm like, guy would be like, grab some 3/4 inch conduit, grab some, 2-inch conduit, and I'm like, a rack of all these different sizes. I'm like, well, how do you know which one is which? Aside from being able to read the sign that said what size was what.
Right.
But he said, oh, well, with time, you'll just know. And that's true.
Yeah.
Although 1.25 still gets me sometimes.
Yeah,
'Cause inch and a half and inch and a
looks like
quarter
inch
are-
and a half. It does.
It's really close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you're on a job site and they say go grab 1/2 inch and you go over there, or they say go grab 1 inch and there's 9 different sizes of conduit.
Yeah.
And they're all jumbled together and on top of each other, and you're like, what am I grabbing here?
If you've been running 3/4 for a while, and you go and grab a piece of 1/2 inch, it feels like a toy.
That's true.
It's crazy.
That's true.
It's ridiculous.
Conduit is interesting because the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more you do it, the more familiar you get at. But it's like to an odd level where you can get really specific with it.
Oh yeah.
Because like if you're just starting out, grabbing 3/4 might feel like grabbing 1 inch, but when you've been working with it for a pretty long time, you can know immediately this is 3/4.
Yeah.
And you can know how hard it is going to be to bend. It's really interesting how difficult it gets really fast. 1/2 inch is like you can bend it over your knee.
Yeah.
3/4 like it's really hard to bend it over your knee. You kind of need a bender for it.
Yeah.
And 1 inch is
Are we talking about 3/4 rigid or 3-inch EMT?
EMT. I'm talking about
Okay.
EMT. I haven't done a whole lot of rigid stuff.
So I had a lot of experience with rigid, and I would go from running, working with a hand bender with 3/4 inch rigid, and that's different. It's different.
It's a lot different.
And then I remember we did a lot of wastewater plants where I worked, and we went to a job, and I'd been on one job for a year running 3/4 inch rigid, and I was just so used to that. And this job was 3/4 inch rigid aluminum, which was very different. I had a little boneyard of you had to learn how to hold it differently in the bender when you were working at it, because it would just go nuts.
Yeah. Have you ever done stainless?
So I could say yes, because in my career I installed one piece of stainless, and it was a straight piece, so it was very unexciting.
Yeah.
So no.
Spencer, he's laughing over there because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. This was a job at Mission Foods. It was a Mission Foods food processing place. And everything was stainless in the production areas because it had to be, because it was their standard. And it was a nightmare to work with.
I can only imagine.
It's the same kind of thing as rigid.
Except
you have to
stronger.
get your measurement, and then you have to go over to the threader, and then you have to thread it, and then you have to ream it, and then whatever. It's the whole process. But with the stainless, it was just harder.
Yeah.
And we had a really, really crappy Chicago bender, that circular wheel.
I know exactly what it is.
And we didn't have the right shoe for it, and he's laughing over it. It was bad. It was really bad. Everything came out dog-legged. You had to manhandle to get it back where it was supposed to be, and I don't ever want to work with stainless conduit again.
So you're in 4th year. You're going to be graduating next year. Are you excited to become a journeyman?
I'm excited to not have to do class anymore. I mean,
every apprentice ever.
Okay.
That's what they've said they're excited about.
Class isn't as bad as we make it up to be. I mean, it's one night a week. It's 5 to 8. It's kind of boring, but I mean, it's as fun as you can make class.
Yeah.
It's just learning.
If you had to pick a favorite year, which one would it have been?
3rd year.
Me
Third
too.
year is the hardest, but it's also, I think, where you learn the most. And it's
Yeah.
where you're transitioning from not knowing how to do anything to actually knowing how to do some stuff.
Exactly.
Maybe being able to teach some guys some stuff. And I think that's also where you just start to learn more in general, is when you start to teach the newer guys
Yeah.
how to do some stuff, because then it really gets engraved in your head.
Yeah.
you're talking about deductions on your benders for bending conduit. You're talking about, some code references. You know that I think it's Article 330, which is MC cable, and then you can go in and say Article 330.30 is going to be your supports for your MC cable, and then you can.
We're going to fact check him on that.
It is. It is. I know it is.
I love that. He's like, I know it is.
I know it is. And you're supporting for your MC cable. It's a foot from every box, and it's every 6 feet after. And that's something that you use a lot. And knowing that and telling that to every apprentice that you're saying, hey, this MC run's going from here to there. You got to say that basically every time because they don't know it. They're going to put the Colorado gym 5 feet up from the box, and you're going to say that's not right. And so I think that's when it really starts picking up the pace, and you really start to think, man, I'm kind of an electrician now.
Yeah.
As when you get into third year. Third year is really good.
I would agree.
It's really hard.
It was
a lot
really
of
hard.
information. It's difficult.
Yeah.
There's difficult stuff, but I think it's the best.
Well, here's a test for you. Where does the Colorado gym go?
It goes on the stud.
No. Not 5 feet from the box. How far from the box?
1.
There we go.
Within 1.
Within
1 foot or less is what it says, I think.
Yeah. So.
And that is Article 330.30.
I love it.
.30 is the support requirements for any sort of raceway.
Yeah.
And that's...
All right, now you're just showing off, all right? What's a mistake that you have made in life or at work, your choice, that you feel like you've really learned from that you would want to share with other people that they might not repeat that same mistake?
I've got 2 mistakes that I would want to talk about, which are like the 2 most major mistakes that I think I've made on the job. First one was I was on a boom lift at a project called Project Nucleus, which was some Walgreens, I think it was a Walgreens distribution center, but they had an endless amount of little conveyor belts, little fancy conveyor belts for, I think, pill bottles. And our foreman every single day would talk about how we need to be so incredibly careful to not hit these conveyor belts with lifts, with anything, to not damage these because they are expensive. And you want to know what I did?
Oh, man.
I was on a boom lift, and you know the boom lifts that they're not the smallest ones, but they're the next size up, and they have that arm that sticks out that you have to watch out for?
Yep.
I wasn't familiar with that. And so that was my first time being on one of those boom lifts that has that arm that sticks out that you have to watch out for. And I was in between, there was like an alley in between these conveyor belts, and I was wedged in there, and I was up at the top. I had done a great job at getting up there without hitting the conveyor belt, and I was watching for it, and I was being careful because they sway a lot in the air, and you kind of got to go slow. And it was coming down where it blanked my mind, and I forgot about that little arm that sticks out, and thankfully I didn't do a whole lot of damage, but I just kind of turned, and it kind of got into the side of it a little bit, and it really wasn't that much damage. And I was on the phone with the third year I was working with. His name's Charles, good guy. He knows Charles, and I was on the phone with him, and I said,
I love this doing a podcast with an audience. I'm not used to this. This is great. This is great.
And I was on the phone with him, and I said, Charles, I hit the conveyor belt. And he's like, you want me to tell Chaz? Because he was our lead person, and I didn't want to tell him because that's scary. And he's like, you want me to tell Chaz? And I'm like, I really don't want to. And he's like, all right, I'll call him. And so I had got down from the boom lift, and I was looking at the spot that I hit, and to me it looked like it was just like a little bit of it was just bent, and you could probably bend it back.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how that problem got resolved because I was shortly transferred to a different job site. I don't know if it was because I did that or if it was because I wasn't needed there.
Right.
I kind of want to know the answer to that, but I don't think I'll ever know.
So that's a request for those listening, that he wants to know what happened there.
I do. I really do.
So Chaz, if you can just let us know in the comments.
But I thought I was just gonna get fired, honestly. I thought, but now I've learned that stuff gets damaged on the job.
Yeah.
Stuff happens, and it's gonna get fixed,
Yeah.
and the job's gonna get done, and you're gonna be on a podcast someday laughing about how you were the idiot first year on the boom lift who hit the conveyor belt.
Well, and I would say the thing with that is tell mistakes like that. You need to tell quick.
Yeah.
And
don't try to
clear.
hide. Don't try to hide your mistakes because
it will come out and it will be
out.
way worse. You
Oh,
will
yeah.
get fired.
Oh yeah.
You will get fired.
Oh yeah. And then the other mistake.
Yeah,
that we
you
were
said you had
talking
two.
about
You had two.
Was, and this is just, it's kind of another thing of just like being careful. But this was kind of just stupid. This was really recent at this Fisher's job, and we.
You know that this goes out on the internet, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with that. It's fine.
Okay.
Mistakes are made, and we learn from them.
That's right. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah. And we got a delivery of this big long skid that had these big long lights on it. And we got it delivered to this one door, and it had to go basically across the building to the staircase that we had to carry those lights up to get them into the rooms they were going into. And we had a pallet jack, and this building is basically finished and done. So the big deal about this building working in it is that you don't mess anything up, because someone's going to have to come and fix it. You scrape the drywall, someone's going to have to come paint it. You do something else, someone's going to have to come fix it. And so we're constantly talking about don't mess up anything.
Yeah.
And we were bringing this skid in, big long skid, and we had a pallet jack, and the skid was a little bit too long for one pallet jack, and there was another pallet jack on the truck that they delivered this with, and we were like, I think it'll be fine. And we start bringing this skid through on this pallet jack, and it's kind of scraping the floor a little bit. And it sounds like it's scraping the floor. You can hear it. It doesn't sound really good.
Yeah.
But you can't see any damage. We were going, and we're like, is it fine? Nothing was getting damaged until it was. And so we kept pushing it, and we were kind of lifting up on it so it wouldn't really, we were trying really hard to not scrape the floor, but
not hard
as
enough.
soon as we heard it scraping the floor at all, we should have said, we need to get that other pallet jack over here.
Exactly.
So it doesn't damage anything. And it's kind of my fault because I was kind of the guy, my boss wasn't there that day, and so I was kind of in charge, and I dropped the ball.
Yeah.
We just kept going with it, and it ended up getting into the floor. There was a nail or something on the bottom of that skid, and it ended up getting into the floor, and so in a section of it, there's this big, long scrape.
Oh.
It's just one line. Oh, my. It's just one line that's just across. I mean, it's like probably 10 feet wide. Long, not wide. It's really skinny. It's just like you took a knife and you dragged it across the floor. But it's like, oh, now I got to call my boss and say, hey, we scraped the floor really bad, and someone's going to have to fix it. And that was just I didn't like having to do that. That wasn't good. That makes you want to not make mistakes. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing we don't realize, that if we would just take a little bit more time and step back, then we wouldn't be there.
But, I mean, another thing to add on to that is a lot of times it takes making those mistakes to really learn that you have to be careful and you have to take more time.
Yeah.
And that you have to take a second to think, what could go wrong here and how do we prevent it?
That's right.
And that goes with like everything.
Yeah.
What can we do here? How do we make this go right?
So, Spencer, that's a cool name. I like that. So you joined the military. Did you go in full time for a certain stint, or you were
No.
the guard?
So the part that was full time was basic training in AIT, where you go to learn your job, and basic training to where they mold you to what they want. So went to AIT for radio communication, and then came back, went to my National Guard unit. So I've been in the National Guard the entire time after that.
Okay.
And I was first in a field artillery unit, I loved that unit. If it was still around, I would go back to it.
Yeah.
But now I'm in an infantry unit down in Camp Atterbury.
So field artillery, that means that you would have, that wasn't your MOS, so you didn't go to Fort Sill.
No.
Okay.
I went to Relax in Jackson.
Yeah.
And then Fort Gordon, Georgia.
Nice. So you got back from training, and when did you get in? So you're a journeyman now. You're a journeyman electrician here at Gaylor. Have you always been here at Gaylor?
No, at first, even before in high school, I would clean houses with my mom. So I had a little cleaning boy. And then my uncle's auto shop, he offered me a job there, which I started cleaning, obviously.
Okay.
But then he's like, you need to learn how to work on vehicles, do oil changes, change tires, brakes, stuff like that. So I can do my own maintenance on my own car, luckily. But how I got into Gaylor, my aunt used to work here.
Okay.
So I had someone that worked in the office. I can't remember where she was at actually in here. But she's like, hey, have you ever thought about being an electrician? I was like, yes! I do not want to be a mechanic and be oily anymore. I was like, no offense, Uncle Tom, but like, I want to do something else. And so I got an interview. I didn't even have a, what's it called?
Resume.
I didn't have a resume at all. It was next week. I had an interview with Adam, and then they're like, cool, well, hire. I basically just said, like, I'm in the military. I'm a sergeant. I can withstand heat and cold.
Yeah.
And I was like,
hard work is not a problem for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, cool. You'll start next Monday. I was like, cool. Heck yeah.
Did you have any idea what electrical work was before you came here?
No, I thought it was cool because I've always been thinking it was more electronics.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Yeah. But no, it's not. Like, I went to J. Everett Light at the end of high school. Like, it was like go to that career center for computer repair.
Yeah.
I lost all that knowledge when I went to basic.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I've always been interested in electronics. Like, I have a $6,000 gaming PC, and I could do whatever I want on it.
Yeah.
And fix it if it ever breaks down. But that's just a lot of YouTube tutorials and stuff like that.
Yeah, YouTube has definitely changed the game on learning how to do things for sure.
I was more interested in it than cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know anything. I had the mentality of I know how to clean everything, so that's where I started out at.
Okay.
And they're like, you're going to do, I think the first job I did was a demo job for Geico or something.
I love demo jobs. I always thought they were fun.
Yeah.
I remember we did a demo job on a veterans hospital, and it was like it was so cool gutting everything out and and honestly then I love scrap wire as well. That was fun.
Yeah. Because
we were allowed to take the scrap in, and that ended up being rather lucrative at the time when I was younger. So. And
then I had a Fitbit at the time. I need to wear one again. I was doing like 26,000 steps a day, we were up on the third floor. Wow. And we were just taking stuff down to the dumpster, coming back up. It was up and down stairs all the time. But like immediately after basic, I weighed like 180. So I had all the energy and stuff to do anything I wanted.
So you pretty much like came out of basic and got a job as an electrical.
Yep.
So tell me about that process. I was talking with Cooper here earlier this morning, and he's a fourth-year apprentice. He's at your heels, so to speak. But how long have you been a journeyman?
So
it's okay to say 2.5 months.
No, it's complicated because the first year I started, I was at AT, which is my 2 weeks in the summertime.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to sign up for classes, so I postponed a year. Went to ABC.
But you were still able to work here at Gaylor even though you postponed a year.
Yeah, Gaylor's been very lenient for, like, they can't really tell me, hey, you can't go do that because it's the government.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm so thankful that they've been lenient. Like, oh, you have to go do guard stuff or military stuff. They're like, we'll see when you get back.
You don't feel like that's hindered your career in any way?
Oh, yeah, it has. Severely.
Here at Gaylor, it's hindered your career. Okay.
Well, I've learned from military, but for progression, it's taken a lot longer for me.
Yeah.
Just because I've had, like, the postponing of ABC to learn stuff. The military is like, hey, you got to come do this real quick, and it's like.
You mean just based on the practicals? You don't mean that Gaylor is kind of looking down on that, and that has held you back. You just mean the practicality of being able to get into classes and what you need to learn.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've learned most leadership qualities through military. So it's like that's progressing or getting me ready for being a crew lead. Like being an E5, it's like I'm in charge of like 2 or 3 people. E6, it's like you're in charge of 8 people or something like that. And which I've gotten used to that. I did that for like 4 years, and then I could still do it now. It's more of dealing with. It's who you get that you're working with.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. You have to ask them like, what do you know? What do you need taught or something like what? I've seen some newer guys. I was like, do you know how to make a saddle? Because he was just going to wing it and try and bend something around.
I don't know if that's something that you can actually wing it.
No.
A saddle.
Like, I looked at him. I was like,
I would actually have let him do it because I've been like, let's see how this goes.
There are some people I've let do that. I'm like, all right, where did you go wrong? And do you want me to teach you what I do and then what I've seen other people do? Working here. I love seeing other people's opinions on like how their mind works.
Yeah.
Because I work more with my hands, and they can go into a whole technical side, like this is how you do the math and geometry, stuff like that.
I just realized, for those who are listening to this podcast, not only electricians listen, and so you might be thinking that we're a bunch of cowboys here talking about saddles, but what we're talking about is, for those of you who don't know, is conduit. When you're running conduit on a wall or a ceiling or something like that, there is an object in the way, and you need to go over it. You'll do what is, and you guys have some pretty cool artwork out front with actual statues doing saddles of all things, where you will saddle the conduit over whatever the obstacle is. And there's a couple of ways to do that. You can do a 3-point saddle, or you can do a 4-point saddle. It just depends on what it is. My experience is, 3-point saddles were more about you have one thing that you need to get over. If you're using a 4-point, sometimes you might be crossing another conduit rack or something like that.
Which I remember you saying, what was it? You were having trouble with 1 1/4.
Oh.
Guess what? That's exactly what we're running.
It is the bane of my existence, because 1 1/4 and 1 1/2, to this day, I look at and I'm like, which one is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Now, like I've had enough experience. I learn a lot with my hands and looking and at material. Like I could look at someone's face, but if I don't know your name, you've said your name once, I'm gonna be like, I can't remember your name, but I have met you.
It's Joshua. Joshua.
I remember.
My name.
I have a friend named Joshua in the military, so it makes it very easy. But like I've always been able to tell the pipe sizes, and someone was like, "Oh, is that 3/4?" I was like, "No, that's 1 inch, or that's 2 inch. That's definitely not 3 inch or something like that."
Yeah. When I started, I could not grasp that, and I was saying that to Cooper. That was one of the things for me that one day it just unlocked, and it was like, it was kind of like when I learned welding. When I first started learning how to weld, and nothing fancy, you don't want me welding anything.
Same.
But I do love it, and I remember when I first learned how to stick weld and do it and be able to run a bead. For the longest time, I couldn't get it, and then all of a sudden, it was just like, oh, there it is. And I can't even articulate what that one thing was, but it was like I caught it, and then I was able to keep running with it, and it worked. So
my stepdad tried to teach me welding, and that didn't. I was like, I'm not interested in this.
So you've been in the trades now for quite a while. How many years?
8.
8 years.
Yeah.
So do you have any intentions of maybe getting an office job, working at Home Depot, or
I'm gonna do this till I can't anymore.
Well, the cool thing about the electrical trade is you can do it pretty long.
Yeah.
There's many different. I remember I was a 4th-year apprentice, and I was working with a journeyman who was in his mid-70s.
Yeah.
And he was troubleshooting PLCs, and it was like, so you can run 4-inch conduit GRC, or you can troubleshoot, PLCs. It's like, and I'm not trying to be ageist and say that a 70-some-year-old can't run 4-inch rigid, but probably not without a couple of helpers. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because right now, like, I go to the gym regularly, and I'm kind of strong, and if they need something, like some wire, thick wire bent for when we're doing, switch gears?
Yeah.
Most of them coming to me like, can you bend this even more? And I was like, I'll bend it.
Yeah.
And then, but I mainly do like bigger conduit and stuff if they need bigger conduit run.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm used to it now.
Yeah. Well, it's a whole different animal for sure. Mm-hmm. When you talk about, I remember when I was in the trades, my hands, there are these things like from back in the 80s where that you would do the hand squeeze thing.
I have grip tools.
And so it's like, but I don't even think that they can do what it is when you're bending like 500 MCM and you're doing that and you're doing that at work. You work muscles in your hands that there's no other way to do it.
I have a ton of grip strength tools that it goes from like 50 pounds to 300.
Wow.
I can't even do that. I can get 250 like halfway, but I've met some mechanics that can do the 300 like nothing. I was like,
what kind of conduit are you running? Like type, not necessarily size.
Oh, just
EMT.
Yeah, just EMT right now.
Yeah.
It was a lot of rigid for when we were doing underground.
Okay.
Which is I like that they do all of this back here because they made all the 90s and stuff that come up out of the ground.
Oh yeah.
The part that sucks is going underneath the footers of the building and then attaching the rigid conduit that needs to go underneath the footer. It's like 4-inch rigid.
Yeah.
Which is super hard to turn. You need these big 480s channel locks to turn it. And there's a lot of mud.
Yeah. So, tell me, what is a tool or a piece of gear, Spencer, that you just can't live without?
Oh my gosh, my Nipex strippers. They're like $60 pair of strippers, but they're the nicest pair that I have. And if I go back to an old one...
Yeah, what makes them nice?
So the part that cuts the actual wire is curved, so it makes it so much easier to cut it. And then the end of it's got like a lineman thing on the end. I don't know.
You can grab stuff and twist it.
Twist it together. It's sharp, so it makes stripping wires easier.
Well, I've been hearing a lot about these tools.
Nipex?
Yeah, for sure. Wow. You didn't even hesitate. That's like your go-to.
The other thing would be my backpack that Cooper actually recommended me. It's a Vito Pro Pack. They're like a $300 backpack.
Tell me more about this backpack.
It's so nice. Like, it's got a hard compartment in the middle, so you can damn near sit on it.
Wow.
And it won't like a normal backpack where it'll just collapse. It's got so many pockets in it. I can put my iPad in the back of it. I got a bunch of other tools. Like I got a carbide bit set, like a, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's just shock resistant screwdrivers. Or whatever.
Oh yeah,
a bunch of
cushion
I
grip.
got a bunch of stuff in that bag, and it makes it like 80 pounds.
Wow.
Which I immediately grab a cart and just put it on there. But
so, tell me, what is it like for you going through the apprenticeship and becoming a journeyman? What's different when you're a journeyman than when you were an apprentice?
Well, when I started, I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
First year, they mainly teach you about like a lot of safety stuff and basic stuff. I can't really remember second year because that's when...
I can't really remember second year.
No, I can't.
It's trauma.
Because immediately after second year, I had to do COVID active duty orders. So that's where I say my apprenticeship is complicated because I had first and second year. Third year is when I had to cut it short, go do that for off and on 2.5 years. Very thankful for Gaylor for being patient. They gave me a gift box with a bunch of picnic stuff. It was at least like $100 worth of stuff. I was like, that's insane that they would do that. I snacked on that for lunch for like a week or so.
That's awesome.
I loved third year, which I think Cooper said he liked third year the most as well.
Yeah, I do feel like that's when you start to really...
My teacher...
Yeah, apply it.
He was an old veteran guy.
Yeah.
So that's also why I liked him, Gene Center. I started like, I really need to... I'm actually starting to care about this right now and wanting to be an electrician. He made it to where I was able to understand a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then doing third year made fourth year a lot easier.
Okay.
But with the whole like COVID thing being pushing back my progress, because that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to turn that down, especially for E5 pay. So it's like, did that, and then I actually didn't get my journeyman's thing till recently this year because
of the delay.
The hours, yeah. So it was like I was like, how many hours do I need left?
That's
like,
a similar thing that happened to me.
30 hours left.
Yeah.
I was like, that's convenient.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you didn't have your hours, but you were operating as a journeyman. You had that life experience. What is that? How is that different than when you're an apprentice? What do you think are the requirements? Once you've attained journeyman status, what do you feel like are your responsibilities to the trade? Does that make sense?
You are looked heavily upon. It was like, I have this journeyman title. It's like, I expect you to at least know some stuff, and mainly to be like, hey, this guy he's been here a while, he can probably get stuff done.
Yeah.
And a lot of people look at me like, if I need to fix something that's either been changed or messed up, they're like, hey, I need someone I can trust.
Yeah.
Can you fix this? That's a lot of mine is like, I'll go fix it real quick. And
so you make that statement, you say, I need someone that I can trust. What does that mean for you? When for you, what is someone that you can trust?
Knowing that, like, hey, I kind of think the same, so it'd be like, hey, this is kind of, I always double check on what people, like, even triple check, like, just to make sure this is what you want, right? And not throw someone into it, and because what you want, or like the supervisor wants in their mind, is not going to be what that one guy, the third year, or someone that's doesn't know what he's talking about. So it'd be like, all right, I have a laser pointer too. Like, so you want it like this, and like this.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, and I'll triple check, like, are you sure that's what you want? Because then I'll point out, like, hey, we could run into this problem right here. Are you sure you not want to run it this way, even though it's on the print?
I think that's something that, running conduit really helped me learn how to think ahead.
Yeah.
Like you'd be in a warehouse or a project, and you're running, 3/4 inch or 1 inch rigid conduit. It's not very forgiving, and it's a lot of work to bend, especially if you're doing it by hand.
Yeah.
But you're running that conduit. You need to look at obstacles before they actually get there.
So right now I'm running. I just got done running a bunch of 2-inch for data.
Okay.
And then 1.25 for grounding and stuff like that. So the thing I was looking at, I was like, this is going to be hard to bend because we have the little bender.
Yeah.
For the 2-inch and 1.25.
Are you using a flip top bender, or are you using a like a Chicago style bender?
Chicago style.
Okay.
Like a machine bender. And I was like, this is going to be hard to bend. Let's see what what parts we need to change the height, because it was high enough to where it was in the joists.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, oh, we're going to have to do saddle here. I was like, why not we just lower it down to this where there's no obstacles in my way? And which on the 3D print, I'm so thankful I have an iPad now, because on, I think it's Procore, they have a 3D model of everything, which goes past, everything lines up. So the people that do all the blueprints and stuff to line up everything.
When I was coming up in the trade, a journeyman shared with me what I would say was like a game changer. And I was trying to figure out, there was a complicated bend, and I had to bend it and kick it and 90 it, like it was a lot in one.
Yeah.
And I had done it wrong like 3 times already. And the journeyman came over to me and he goes, you want me to show you how to do this so that you can learn it before you do it? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, here, let me show you. And so we walk over to the job trailer. He grabs a spool of like number 12 solid wire.
Yeah.
Cuts off a 8-inch piece for me.
It's funny you say that, because I do that. I have a scrap piece of wire in my bag for the exact same thing.
Well, and then he's like, you just take that piece and you bend it the way that you think, and then you can visualize and see when you talk about the 3D, it's like you can visualize and see the 3D. Now, when I was running conduit like that, there was not iPads and things like that in the field. But
I just got those recently.
I would say that there's something about even bending that wire with your hands and doing that does at least for me, it did something in my brain with being able to understand and figure out how that is. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about the trades is it unlocks certain things, whether we're talking about, conduit size and our brains unlocking and being able to figure out and see what they are, or visualizing what a conduit run looks like. And I think that those things then apply. For me, I've applied them to life, and I think anybody can, where it's like, okay, I'm doing this just like I would a conduit run. What are the issues that I see down the line? Mm-hmm. What are the things that are going to come in? What are the conflicts?
Yep.
And how am I going to deal with them before we get there? So I think that's one thing that I just really love about what we do. So now you're a journeyman. You're here at Gaylor. Tell me a little bit about what does the culture look like here? What is like, and you know what I mean when I say culture?
Yeah, like all the people that work here and stuff like
exactly,
that. There are
a
lot of there's a lot of diversity here, and a lot of different people to work with. A lot of smart people and a lot of people that need common sense. A lot. Which that's why.
So you read the part when we said an honest conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So I've taught a lot of first years and interns of stuff I've learned from other people that I've worked with.
Yeah.
It's a nice group to work with because a lot of people will teach you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would be like, just look at you that you're stupid, but they need taught.
Don't you think that common sense? All right, so
I wish it was given, or like not given, but like it. You either need it, you need to be born with it, or it's very hard to develop for some people.
So I have an opinion. Everybody has opinions, but I don't know if I'm right or not. But I don't think that common sense is real.
No.
I think. So I really think that words matter and the way that we communicate really matters. And I think we use that statement. And I wonder if when we say common sense, we don't mean critical thinking.
Yeah.
And my reasoning for that, let me just say this, like critical thinking isn't something that you're born with. Some people are quicker at it than others. But I feel like we really need to work at, and I was just having this conversation this morning with someone, I think we really need to work at teaching critical thinking and what that looks like. And that means that we actually have to, when I became a journeyman, I began to get in the rhythm of, okay, I know how to do this. I know how to do this. And I stopped thinking about, well, why do I do that? Mm-hmm. Like, why do I do this? Why do I do that? And I think one of the problems with that is then when we have young people come into the trade, and not even young people, but it doesn't matter what age you are, where you come from, you can enter this trade at any time in your career, in your life. But you might be a 40-year-old coming into the trade not knowing.
Yeah.
And so I think that critical thinking is one of those things that we want to help people grow in and learn. And I think that only comes from us taking the time to step back and be like, well, why do I do that? And then being able to explain that to others. Mm-hmm. And so that's just my opinion piece there.
Because it's like, other people's brains work differently. And
yeah.
So I just need to get rid of the you need common sense thing, and it's more you need taught.
Yeah. I think
like
so.
That,
do you
actually.
feel, in the culture here, like for you when you were coming up in the trade, is that something that you feel like is here that people want to teach?
Yeah.
Because I think that's something in the trades that we're kind of guilty of not wanting to teach. Mm-hmm. Cooper was talking to me here, and he talked about he got put out on a job on his first day, didn't know anything. And the guy goes, I asked for a journeyman. And I can remember being that guy where I'm like, I asked for a journeyman. And I think we have to stop saying, like, I get it. We need experienced help. But I think we have to stop saying that I asked for a journeyman. We need to start being like, all right, I need to make a journeyman.
Learn the patience to teach that new guy, because that new guy is going to be, if he's dedicated, to be that journeyman that you need.
Yeah. Well, and it sounded like that happened for him, but it also sounded like he needed to show the right attitude and the effort to be able to then gain the respect of those that he was working with to be able to get more.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what do you feel like is one of the biggest things here in the culture that you love that it's kept you here so long? And it doesn't need to be it can be whatever. Yeah.
The people make or break it. And thankfully for my team that I like a lot of the people on here, and that's what's kept me, like, I like working with these people, and they give me criticism, but also motivation to learn and be better, like being a better leader and or like a better person in general on how, like, better your skills as a journeyman. And like, even though I've earned the journeyman status, I'm not the perfect being. Yeah. So I always keep my code book on me. And
you keep your code book on you?
Yeah. Always.
I'm impressed.
I have the little tabs and everything on it. If I'm in a situation where I need to learn something, like I can't memorize like Cooper has.
Yeah. Yeah, he was definitely showing off.
He's very smart.
Definitely showing off. Yeah, I'm gonna. Did you hear? And I was like, okay, we're gonna fact check you on that. He goes, I know I'm right. Yeah.
I laughed pretty hard at that.
Yeah.
But
arrogant jerk. Sorry. Inside thoughts. I apologize.
Even though the Army's got their rules and regulations as well, I can't remember all of it. And someone can correct me when, like, oh, the AR 670-1, which is like clothing or something. I can't remember.
Wow. Man, my goodness. That's not a Gaylor thing. That's a Army thing.
Yeah.
It's
you
guys don't have an employment code, do you? Like clothing code, I mean.
For Gaylor?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Probably just need to wear pants. That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
So,
jeans and high vis.
That was, there are people listening that laughed at that right now. You didn't laugh. That's it. So, with what you're doing here, jeans and high vis. That's the uniform. With what you're doing here, you talk about that stuff. You talk about knowing the code, having that with you. You talk about the culture. What is it about the people that you work with? Like when you talk about they criticize you or they critique you, how do they do that in a way that makes you want to learn and makes you want? Because I think that we have to. People can communicate things like that in two ways. One, in a way that makes me want to punch them in the mouth. Again, with my inside thoughts coming out.
Oh, you're good.
They can communicate it that way, or they can communicate it in a way that makes me go, wow, I really want to get that right next time.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? How would you identify that? And it sounds like, and I'm curious, that that's something that your team already does for you.
Yeah. Our family, I say family just because that's how I've perceived it as. Yeah, there are some family members I hate, and there are some that I love. Regardless, I love all of them, even if they get on every last nerve I have.
I was going to get on you. That's a requirement of family.
Yeah. Yes. But it's like, we've dogged on one guy for the longest time, but he's gotten to the point where he's gotten really good at it, and now it's like, good job.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I commend you for that you're still here, that we've given you so much crap.
Yeah.
But,
so that's what you would say is what makes it that you can hear those critiques, is that they give you crap? Or is there something deeper to it? Like when they give you crap, do you feel like they're trying to be hurtful? Or?
No. There's I should have known that, but it's like, it's in a loving way. Like when you teach your younger guy, like I have one guy I'm working with that we're hard on each other all the time, friggin'.
Yeah.
But it's like in a, like, how about you do it this way? When he's like, I didn't even think of that, but I'll do it in like a goofy kind of part. But like, that's something you shouldn't say to the guy, but he's like, it's in a funny manner.
I think it has a lot to do with the heart behind what you say. Mm-hmm. And that's hard to put your finger on. My wife, she gets on me because I have two sons, and I am that way with them. And my heart for them is that I want their success. I want them to succeed. And the other day my son was talking to my wife, my oldest, and he has entered the trades. And she's like, your dad gives you a hard time and like is ribbing you all the time. And he goes, Mom, it's great. And she's like, what do you mean it's great? And she goes, he says, I said she. He's going to love that I said she. He said, when I go out on the job site, he goes, there's nothing that they can throw at me that Dad didn't already throw at me. Now, my wife is right. I think that's only okay if I let my kids know when they hit the wins.
Yeah.
It's only okay that they know that, because there's this thing called sarcasm, which I think actually is different than ribbing someone.
Mm-hmm.
And because when you're sarcastic, there usually is a hint of frustration or irritation there. And so it's like, actually, you're just not controlling yourself when you're being sarcastic.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, oh, that really bothers me, but I don't want to talk with you. And Cooper and I talked about this, not wanting to have hard conversations with people. I don't want to talk with you about it, so I'm going to be sarcastic.
Yeah.
So that's how I can talk with you about it, but I'll be like, no, I'm just joking. And the reality is, I want to give you a critique, which means that I've taken the time to think about it, to process it, and how I'm going to give that to you. Mm-hmm. And that's the heart behind it. You were about to say something, and I kept yakking.
No, you're good. I was about to say with the guy I'm working with now, I guess the word I would be looking for is like I have a lot of sarcasm to it.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's like I'll see him do something, I'm like, that disappointed. I'm not a dad, but I give the disappointed dad look.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let me teach you the actual thing. But it's like we have a lot of sarcasm between each other, and that's what really that's why I like working with the guy that I'm working with right now. He's a first year. He just started.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
But he's learning a lot just being with our group that we have right now at Bastion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your teams of people that you work with, like how large are they? Like, are we talking 5, 10?
No.
Okay.
It's like, it'd be Adam's team, so it's like team capacity.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what is that team capacity?
I have no idea.
How many people do you work with?
We have smaller teams.
Yeah.
Like, it varies from, so the three people I mainly work with right now are Archie, Mickey Booth, and Jagger.
Okay.
And then myself.
Jagger, that's a cool name. Jeez.
I haven't learned. I can't remember his last name. Unison.
So you work with 3
mainly.
Typically. Okay.
Archie was like, "Do you want to just continue working with the same small group?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." Yeah. I like working with these people.
Small groups are really that's the way to go. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's difficult, and honestly, even when you get with bigger teams, they're just you break them down into smaller teams so that they can function and operate. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So you're a journeyman. You are working in the trade. You're doing this stuff. Where do you see yourself 5, 10 years from now?
Probably with probably a bigger crew.
Yeah.
I don't see myself ever being a supervisor because I've seen the stress, and in the military I've seen that kind of position of it's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, I'm not.
There's
cut
a
out
lot
for
of
that.
responsibility there.
I don't want that much responsibility, but enough to where I can delegate a couple of people.
Yeah.
And then while I'm still working, because I can't stand around and do nothing, I have to work as well.
I think that's something that's really important for people to realize is, those of us who do want that responsibility need to not lay out judgment on those who don't, and those of us who don't need to not lay judgment out on those who do. And meaning, if we weren't made differently, if we weren't wired differently, that's a little electrician humor there. If we weren't wired differently, then we wouldn't have people to do the different jobs.
Yeah.
You know, there are different people for different roles for reasons.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really important for people to understand. You don't always have to be the guy running the big job.
Yeah.
You know, that guy can only run the big job because of the people that are willing to take the smaller responsibilities within that job. And in all reality, he might not enjoy those as much and maybe not even be able to be as good at them. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that we often miss. So, Spencer, tell me, you've had time to think on this now, what is a mistake that you've made in life, in your career, that you're willing to share with us that you've learned from? Cooper had like 5 or 6 of your mistakes that he was going to tell me, but
of my mistakes?
I'm just messing with you. Just messing with you.
I've had plenty of mistakes, but like more of like I've always looked down on myself, so I've always had the open mind to I'm always able to learn more stuff.
Yeah.
Patience is another thing. So like doing the hard talks and stuff with people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like for a while I didn't have patience, and like I wouldn't explode or anything. I'd like shut down and go away. But now it's like I know how to do those harder talks.
Yeah.
When it comes to like equipment and stuff like that, be slow on everything. So boom lift, like you have that knob, you can go faster or slower. Always check to see if something is live.
Yeah.
Like 3 times. I don't care if you know, just like quick little taps or go back to the panel, or if you know someone's working on it, and always make sure power is off, because I've seen some people cut in some hot wires because someone turned it back on. Or
I think if people are listening and you're like, well, that's stupid, you should never do that, it's only a matter of time until that happens to you.
Yeah.
I had a journeyman tell me once that if you've never actually done that, then you just haven't been doing it that long. Meaning, eventually, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the importance of, and I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm just saying the reality is, we learn a lot of things that we learn because we do stupid stuff, and when we do stupid stuff, to your point, we need to check that stuff. We need to triple check it. We need to know.
Yeah.
And Cooper and I were talking about this earlier in our conversation, just about how this is a life or death thing. Like, you need to check that stuff. You need to be aware of that stuff, because the people that you might be affecting down the line that are working, that's why like lockout, tag out, all that stuff is so important.
Always think of people around you, like
sure.
What could I be doing right now that might affect a human life or injure someone?
Yeah.
Another thing, wear hoodies if you're drilling upwards into a ceiling, because I have like a bunch of burn marks just from hot metal.
Oh, I've experienced that. I think one of the best things for me in wearing a hoodie when I was younger, hammer drilling and getting punched in the face with a hammer drill. That's always fun. Especially, why is it always on top of a ladder?
Oh,
you're
my gosh,
always
yeah.
on top of a ladder, and you're drilling. For me, I was drilling in concrete, and it caught rebar that was in the concrete, and it just smacked me in the face. Something fierce. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know the pain.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, not fun.
No.
Not fun at all. Well, I guess, being here, having this conversation with you, as we're closing here, Spencer, what would you say to people that want to enter the trades, and specifically here, we're at Gaylor's Innovation Center. What would you say to people that, like to Cooper, what does it mean for you to have your journeyman's card now and to be going forward?
It's nice knowing that I have a career here.
Yeah.
And it's like knowing that they're looking to me to do work outside, and to know that they're trying to take care of us.
Yeah.
Like all the safety briefs, they're for a reason, to keep you safe and to keep you here.
Yeah.
And to keep that mentality of like, I like working here and they're taking care of me and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the responsibility of an employer, is to take care of their people, and then it's the responsibility of their people to take care of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Because the organization is not the name Gaylor on the wall. The organization is you. It is Cooper. It is these men and women over here. That's who it is. Mm-hmm. And so when you have someone on your team that isn't taking the time to care for those people, then they're endangering the organization.
Yeah.
And that's not acceptable. And so I think what you're talking about is true, and we need to remember that in the trades. Whatever organization or company that you're in, you need to take the time to care about the man or the woman next to you. You need to care about the work that's being done in a way that elevates and continues to build and grow that organization, because that will continue to build and grow you. So I think that's an essential part of being a journeyman. Yeah, it's a card that you can take anywhere in the country. You have it, you've earned it. But the other aspect of it is the responsibility that does come with that. that the third, the fourth year, the second year, the first year, you are now the guy that is training and investing in them and showing that caring, that value that you're giving that individual. You know, we're all human beings, and so we all inherently have that value of being a human being, but we need to give that to others through caring for them. And so I think that's pretty essential in what we're doing here in the trades. So, and it sounds like that's something that you and your team are doing, and you need to keep doing it. I think you're doing a great job. I think it's pretty exciting, and I'm excited to see where you are in 5 years. So
I can't wait.
That's awesome. Spencer, thank you for stepping up to the line.
Joshua, it was nice having this interview with you.
Well, Chuck, I'm going to try to not butcher your last name here. Chuck Goodrich?
Goodrich.
Ah, good. I got it.
Very simple. Good,
yeah,
rich.
I like that. I like it.
Spelled
Good
the
and
same
rich.
way.
I love it. I love it. So can you tell me who you are,
Yeah.
and then tell me where we are?
Sure. So, you know, who I am is just a very blessed and fortunate guy. I started in I grew up in a small town called Rowan, Indiana. Population now is 321 people, and I grew up 5 miles from there.
Wow.
So a pretty impoverished farm area, rural area, and just always loved construction.
Yeah.
My dad worked at the local factory. My mom worked at a local factory there too in North Manchester, actually an egg farm. But, you know, I grew up with the values of doing what you say you're going to do.
Come on.
Loving God with all your heart.
Come
and
on.
loving neighbors.
Come on.
And just having genuine care for people. And, you know, that propelled me through my high school years into a small college called Vincennes. My brother actually worked there, so I was such a homebody that if you wanted to see me, you came to my house because I didn't go anywhere. So when I graduated, the options were go work at the local town in the factory, or go see if you can do something in architectural construction, those kind of things. So I started at Vincennes, loved the school, loved my brother. He was like a professor. He was a professor there, and it made me feel at home.
Come on.
And that's why I best, you know, I was really close to my parents. Still am. I'm lucky to have them both alive, and they're awesome. But anyway, and my biggest fans, by the way.
That's so cool.
Graduated from Vincennes, met my wife there. And we went to Purdue together, and I studied engineering. Ended up in the construction school because what they were doing at that school, and still are today, was they were building.
Come on.
I got to see concrete structures built, wood structures, and then all of a sudden I started kind of seeing electrical go in these structures, and I'm like, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so I became the officer in Associated Builders and Contractors student chapter.
Okay.
So this was back when I was, 21 years old, and we were literally raising money to go compete in a national competition for Associated Builders and Contractors.
Come on.
We were having a golf outing. I was sitting in the golf cart, and this is what I always encourage all young folks today. You know, get involved.
Yeah.
You know, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know where it's going to propel you in your life. And try saying yes, because it's a lot more fun than no.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting in this golf cart, and down sits John Gaylor, the founder of this company in 1984, started in his garage.
Come on.
And he literally hired me as an intern on the 9th hole. So he hired me. I came to work for him as an intern, did everything, service van to working in the warehouse to understanding inventory, working in purchasing, then into estimating. And look, I graduated in 93. I thought I wanted to be a general contractor, so I took off and went down south and worked for about 3 years. And John Gaylor calls me and says, son, you need to get back here. And we had a kid, my first daughter, Caitlin. And we came back in 1996. So I was gone for about 30 months. And I've done just about every job there is at Gaylor in the office. And also graduated apprenticeship school for Associated Builders and Contractors.
Come on.
So that's where I got my background. That's where I come from. I look every day at all these folks at Gaylor and think, what else can we do to provide them an opportunity? An opportunity to be great. An opportunity to have a career that changes the world one person at a time.
Come on.
In our business plan, we talk about genuine care. And you'll see, and you've met some people here at Gaylor, their hearts are as big as their body. Yeah. And that's what it really takes to be awesome at Gaylor. Is you got to love people. You got to love to build a great industry. But most of all, you have to give back. Yeah. And that's what we built our organization on. That's where I came from. And I love the community. When we work there, we want to make the community better.
Yeah.
And not only create jobs, but just being part of the community, because you can't change the world one person at a time for the better without being involved, without being engaged. And so that's just kind of where I came from and where I'm at today.
I love it. I mean, I can tell when you're talking that you're excited about it.
Yeah.
It's real. You talk about that 9th hole with John Gaylor.
Yeah.
What was it about him? Like, I mean, and that was a while ago.
It was.
But like, there had to be something in that conversation, and even then later when he called you back, that made you want to work with him.
Yeah.
What was that?
It's I think back on that day and think about, how God blessed me, how, I remember telling my dad literally, we didn't really have cell phones, so I wait till you get home. I called my dad and I'm like, hey Dad, I just got a job. He's like, where at? And I'm like, with an electrical contracting company in Indianapolis. And he's like, do you know anything about electrical work? And I'm like, I said, I don't know anything, but I can tell you one thing. I'm going to learn everything I can about it. And so, matter of fact, it was so intriguing to me that I really had no place to live. And so there's a campground about 15 miles north of here. And I just, I was a Boy Scout. I just pitched a tent and lived in that tent my first year.
Your first year, you lived in a tent?
Yeah, my first summer internship. So it was nice weather.
Wow.
I didn't live there in the winter.
Yeah, we are in Indiana.
But, yeah, I know. But the point was, again, back to these young folks. And really what John Gaylor said to me, and I'll tell you that in a second, but I just encourage young folks, again, you got to get out there.
Come on.
You got to be able to say, hey, look, I'll do whatever it takes. Now, of course, within the boundaries of law and all that stuff, but you got to be able to work for it. And I really encourage folks to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes to have an awesome career.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in this golf cart with John Gaylor, and his HR person's behind me. So we had 2 interns and us 2. And he told me, on the 9th hole, he said, hey, get out of the cart. I want to ride with the other guy, see if I hire him too, because you need to tell Ron what you need, how we're going to work this out. So work it out by the 18th hole. But John was awesome because he talked about that Gaylor Electric is an experiment about people. An experiment that a company can actually treat their people awesome and have great results. Wow. A company that can spend its time, energy, and investment in the industry, not specifically on Gaylor, that creates a great industry, and then his job was to build a company that can compete in it.
Wow.
And so I'll never forget that. I was so intrigued because I'm like, I really don't know what a company is at this point in my life, but he was just so inspiring.
Yeah.
If you go into my history room, you'll see a big plaque made of him that we made right here in our CNC machine out of an 1.5 inch piece of copper. That's he is so important to this organization's past. He's so important to me because he instilled in me that it's about people.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I knew a little bit of that because my parents, man, they just would help anybody and everybody. But then when I seen it in business, today the corporate world's get kind of a bad rap.
Yeah.
Even my kids are young and they're like, Dad, do you believe they did that? And I'm like, son, I'm just telling you, and my daughter, they're my youngest 2. I have 4 kids. And I have 4 kids and a beautiful wife.
That's awesome.
What they say, I outkicked my coverage.
Yeah.
But the corporate world they have to have a purpose, and the purpose has to be about building the community and the people will take care of your business.
Come on.
That's what happens every day with Gaylor, man. We got, some 4,000 people all across the nation. There's no someone sitting there telling them what to do each day. They're doing it because we, as a company, love people. Yeah. And they love the mission and they love the purpose.
What do you think you talk about that, you have all those people and someone's not telling them what to do. What is the secret to them just doing it?
Yeah,
do you understand what I'm asking?
I do. I think about it every day because, when you, as we built this organization, when I first came, there was like 30 people.
Wow.
And
how much, just for those listening, how many people is it now?
A little over 4,000. And, and it's really cool because, again, we have supervision, we have apprentice, we have journeymen, and, the supervisors are having daily huddles and laying out our Gaylor safety moments and all the stuff they expect as an organization as you build a job.
Yeah.
But production is about your purpose.
Yeah.
We talk about living with the purpose. We talk about living with grit, doing your part to make yourself better, because here's the issue with that.
Come on.
When you're better, the company's better.
That's right.
That's why we talk about education all the time. That's why we talk about the apprenticeship school. That's why we talk about the career advancement. That's why we have a career path for each individual in the company, because when you're getting better, Gaylor's getting better. Hey, look, even me, right? I spend a tremendous amount of time trying to make myself the best I can be.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, how do you expect anybody else to do it?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Tell me, you mentioned education.
Sure.
What is education to Chuck? Because we've seen some things here, and I saw some excitement in your eyes as you're walking me through this building. Like, I asked this earlier, so what is this place that we're in right now? What do you call this?
Yeah, it's called the Production Innovation Center.
Innovation.
And we talk about all the time a better way to do things.
Come on.
And I'll just tell you this. If you're doing it the same way you did it yesterday, someone's beating you.
That's going to be a quote on the podcast.
No, I'm just telling you. If you're still doing it like you did it yesterday, someone's beating you. And so innovation, this center right here is a life dream. Yeah. I mean, this is like 30 years all coming together in one place, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. But we have 3 of them. Atlanta,
three of these?
Yeah. Atlanta, Charlotte, here. We're focused on delivering the product to our job sites as fast, in the most efficient and cost-effective way possible. And as we work all across the nation, we needed 3, and we'll open up our 4th one probably in 26 or 27. I haven't quite got that figured out. So the idea in the Production Innovation Center, there's a whole bunch of things that this center actually dots the I's and crosses the T's.
Come on.
So if you think about a schedule on a job site, right? There's a lot of trouble getting jobs out of the ground. And normally that puts the pressure on us when the schedule is time.
Yeah.
When it's time for us to go, we got to go. We get that. But a lot of times that gets pushed because we got to get the building dried in. So we made a decision a long time ago. We're going to actually help our customer figure this schedule and figure out how to hit these dates. So we can work on all the parts and pieces of a job right here while they're building the structure.
Come on.
So when it's time for us to deliver, we've got a product that can be installed 3 times faster than what it would if we stick built it.
Yeah.
So that was the kind of the concept. And then on top of that, how do you solve this workforce shortage?
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna build up. I mean, this, the electrician. This is the best trade in the world.
I do.
I mean, it's unbelievable. The excitement that comes of being an electrician is incredible, and in all the skilled trades.
Yes.
For years we've taught. There's been this conversation about college, about the trades. What I say is, it's not and or, it's all.
Yeah, I like it.
So think about this, maybe a different pathway.
Yeah.
This is a different pathway through learning the industry and learning, just continue to educate yourself. So what I mean by that is look, you can come to high school right here at Gaylor Electric. We have our own high school. There's some 60 students that are involved in this process.
Wow.
They study STEM for 4 hours a day, and then they build America right here in this lab the other 4 hours a day.
Wow.
And so, that's one of my favorite things about this innovation center is it is building up the trade.
Yeah.
It is building up being an electrician. People understand what you can be and what career you can have as an electrician or working in our industry. And so this center is a better way to build jobs, better way to build projects, better way to produce jobs and help us with our workforce shortage, because here's why. Look at this, right? It's pretty nice in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 90 degrees outside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I did notice that.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Like we could keep it about 60 to 80, and it depend on the heat and the air conditioning, and would depend on what season we're in.
Yeah.
But think about this: no Carhartts, right? No gloves, no hoods.
Yeah.
I mean, just the factors of being on a job site alone is a little harder environment than it is here.
Yeah.
So this helps us with our production, which helps us with our workforce shortage. It trains our high school kids. It gives me an ability to bring work release folks that really need to be trained on a job. Think about this. We have a lot of work release folks in here that have done things wrong.
Yeah.
They've done their time. But most of all, they just need a place where when they're out, they can actually build a career.
Come on.
And so they don't go back to jail. They actually build a career here. So this gives us a place to really promote the genuine care for people. And it's absolutely fantastic to watch a young boy, a young woman, 16 years old, don't know what they're going to do, behind in credits in high school. We bring them in here in a self-based learning environment. And they come out here and build America. And when they're done, they get to go to apprenticeship school. We hire them. They come here, they go to apprenticeship school, they go through 4 years of apprenticeship, they come a journeyman. We're trying to produce 200 journey people under the age of 24 years old a year. Wow. Now think about if we can do that.
Come on.
There is nothing stopping Gaylor from continuing to be a $5 billion company. We'll go from $1 billion to $5 billion, you know what I mean? Because, again, it's about people.
Yeah.
And so this industry or this innovation and production center, it does. It dots the I's, crosses the T's when it talks about production, safety, quality, workforce development. If you're doing it the same way you did it yesterday, someone's beating you.
I love that statement, and we're here, and I even see some prefabricated duct bank here.
Yeah.
And when you talk about safety, I didn't think about this till I was talking to one of your people earlier today, and he said, "Well, it's less time in the trench.
Lots
you're
less.
Exposed." And I'm like, and so the business mind is one, thinking about safety, but then I'm also thinking less time means more profit.
Yep.
Like, that's the cool thing about innovation and doing the right thing because it's the right thing.
It's the right thing.
That's profitable in the long run.
It is.
I was just talking with someone earlier today, a member of your team, where I was talking about, you can look at making profits for next Tuesday for your shareholders, or you can look at making profits for the next 50 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's impressive. So like when you started here and you say it was about 30 people and you're just, you have a little more than 4,000, it's a little bit more than double. I'm good at math,
exactly.
by the way.
Right. Yeah.
What was it actually before I asked you that question, and I'm going to try to remember it. Chuck, what is something that you just can't live without? A tool or a piece of gear? I ask everybody this question.
Yeah, let me think about that, because in the innovation area, there's so many things.
Yeah.
But for me, I just got to say mentors.
Come on.
I have had, again, I told you
no one has ever said that before.
Well, I can tell you this.
And I've asked over 100 people.
I make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And what keeps me from making too many is I always run my thoughts by my mentors. We have a chief values officer here named Michael Fort. He's been a mentor of mine for 20 years. He probably knows more about me than anybody in the world.
I think I've been talking to him.
Okay,
he's pretty cool.
I have, John Gaylor was a huge mentor, and for me, being able to run through your thoughts,
yes,
and your thinking process,
yes, Come on, this is good.
So many people talk
Yeah.
and do things before they actually go through someone that knows you or knows the business. And so I've had probably 6 or 7 people, including my dad.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know, you can't call your dad a mentor, but he is. He still is today. Humility, right? You know, as I read business books, as I build a structure, as I work on our business plan as an organization, as I think about growth, you talk about profitability. You know, we got to make money to be able to reinvest. And we want our customers to know when you hire Gaylor Electric, you're changing the world one person at a time.
Come on.
And that is so exciting to me because, you know, there are a lot of electrical contractors in this world.
Yeah.
I get that. And they can install stuff just like anybody else. But what we want our customers to know is when you invest with us and have us build your job, you're doing all those things. You're working on productivity. You're changing the world one person at a time. You're making kids and lives better and careers. I mean, all that stuff we talked about, when you hire Gaylor Electric, you're investing in that.
Come on.
And that's why, you know, I always talk to my younger kids. You know, my kids are like, what about profitability, Dad? These guys, I said, son, all we do with profit is invest right back in our organization. Yeah. That's why you can see this, right? You can see this ain't cheap, right? And so mentors are what really, the only reason I stand here and I guess I'm set today. Yeah. But the reason I set in the position I am is because so many folks have invested in me personally.
Yeah.
And, you know, and again, you know, my wife have invested in me for me to just be able to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here a lot, and I love every minute of it. So it's got to be mentors. It's got to be.
You know, you touch on something. I think that mentors is great, and you talk about speaking your thoughts out loud and basically processing them, and then a mentor, they give you that thought process back.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned something that I think is really interesting with your position and where you are in a company. One of my mentors gave me advice years ago, and I said, hey, I think I'm going to start this. And he said, well, he goes, and for me, in my faith, I was like, I'm feeling called to this. And he said, well, if your wife's not on the same page with you, then it doesn't matter if you've been called to business or not.
Exactly.
And it was the best advice that I ever got. And so I went with my wife because I had no idea how hard life was going to be.
Yeah.
I had no idea how, and you lived through 2008, so you probably have a little bit of an idea.
I do.
And you can't do that alone.
Nope.
You can't do that. And that relationship there, what you talk about of how your wife, and I love how you included her in a way in your mentors list.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need.
Oh, she corrects me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So I was going to ask you before I asked that question.
Yeah.
So you went from 30 people to over 4,000 now, and you said you're in multiple states. Mm-hmm. And what was the transition point of that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you were like, and maybe I'll label it like this. Let's say when you went to another state, because they say that's a big thing in business that's very difficult.
It is.
And a lot of people do not succeed at it. It's one of the largest reasons for failure is expanding into another state.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I would, just a couple things about that because, you know, I think back of, you know, if you are failing at something, you're not doing anything. I mean,
That's true.
If you don't look back and say, "Man, that was dumb," you're probably not taking much risk.
Yeah.
But as John Gaylor said, never bet the title.
Ooh.
You know, a car racing thing, right? Never bet the title. Just, you know, was great advice for me because we've had opportunities to do that before, and we've referred not to do it. But I would just say growth is again about the people. And we have had failures. I mean, we've closed offices in many cities, not many, a couple, but we're back there now.
Yeah.
And you know, we learned our lesson on what to do and not to do, and I think that we have got that figured out. But it's about customers. See, we don't go to locations to open up an office.
Interesting.
We have a prioritization of our customers, so it's customer first. Project second, location third.
So if you're listening, this is really good. I'm going to ask you to say that again because you want to write this down.
Yeah, right. So the reason we end up in so many areas is because we prioritize our work like this: customer first, project type second, location third. Most companies, they prioritize location first.
Yeah.
And with the attitude of our organization of having that prioritization, it works. That's why we're in so many locations, 16 different locations across the country now.
Wow.
And we're more successful than we were before because we were trying to build revenue before. What we're trying to do now is meet our customers' needs.
Come on.
That changed. That concept changed. And so you probably know this as an example from me, but in 2014, I was very fortunate to purchase Gaylor Electric. So a company that I'd spent my whole career in pretty much except 30 months. John Gale with great experiment and wisdom. He actually sold me Gaylor Electric. Now it took me 8 years to pay for it, you can imagine. And to pay for organizations, what do you have to do? You have to grow it.
Yeah.
And so, and you're right, I did live through 8, 9, 10, 11. Matter of fact, it hit us in 11. We had a backlog going in, and so we're pretty good, but everybody stopped paying us.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. So, when you look at that, we in 14 we just continued on and grow this experiment about treating people the way people should be treated. And as the saying goes, the golden rule. I've had a golden rule is treat others how you'd like to be treated.
Yeah.
Well, our rule is treat others like they want to be treated.
Ooh.
Very interesting concept, and it works. And when you have a purpose that is spread between all of us, and we all have a purpose that is like-mindedness, you can build anywhere that a customer wants you to be.
Come on.
Yeah. So
So you basically
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
But your people, what you're saying is, you're aligned.
Yeah.
In your goal and your priority.
Yeah.
And that's where that success is.
Yeah. Our entire business plan is on one page.
Okay, I'm glad you said that.
Plan.
Talk about that, because I heard one of your guys say that, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So a one-page business plan.
Yep, it's unbelievable. We've spent since 2007 working on that. Michael Fort and I and my executive team will put a new. Matter of fact, we just finished it this morning.
Come on.
And it'll be for our 2026. We don't do a 3-year and 5-year plan because if you know that, you should help me because I can barely figure out what's going to happen next year, let alone 3 and 5 years from now.
That.
So we spend our time focusing on the following year. And in that business plan is our vision.
Come on.
Your purpose.
Come on.
Which is your purpose and my purpose.
Come on.
It's got our core values, our 8 core values, and what we measure is a goal for each core value.
Wow.
Right? And that's right there on the plan. And so that's what we measure. And then we also have our focus words, and which are how we build our education system. So when you think about education and you think about what's going on right now here in our high school in apprenticeship, do you know that these kids can come here to high school, learn how to build America, go through the apprenticeship plan, get their college associate's degree with just 9 additional hours over a 4-year period. So this is how we get and.
Come on, I love it.
And by the way, you're building a career off this one-page business plan that has your purpose, and it's intentional to yourself, and it's heartfelt, and that's like-mindedness. And that's what Gaylor is. We're like-minded on an experiment to treat people right and build our communities.
That sounds unstoppable.
I think it is unstoppable, but I would say this. As you know, we've talked about faith. It takes a lot of prayer and a continued, just a continued belief that you can make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah. Well, I think that ultimately, for me, that's something that gives me great purpose in what I do. That's beyond. It's beyond the bottom line, and I don't mean money matters.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep these lights on in here.
That's right.
You need to balance the sheet. But the reality is, I heard someone say recently, and I was just sharing this with some people, but I learned recently the difference between making money and building wealth. And I would say that I believe that, when we're building wealth, that's more than just money.
Oh, sure.
It's more like, you can make money so that, you're going to have this in your bank account, or you can build wealth,
right,
which is how you weather the 2008s. It's how you weather when things go wrong.
Yeah.
It's how you have something to pass on and to leave. I mean,
The brand.
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
brand. Yeah, you build wealth in the brand. You can make money at just about anything if you're, but we're looking for an experiment that has a legacy behind it that will continue on for hundreds of years.
Come on,
now,
I
I'm
love
probably
it.
not going to make it to the 100-year anniversary. Maybe I'll be old then, but for us, we're on our second generation.
Come on.
And we plan on continuing this organization until it is one of the largest in the world. So
I love it.
I think that's right. I think it's around the people. I think, again, the reason you do that is to provide opportunity.
Yeah.
I am so thankful, grateful, humble, what the words you can't hardly put, that John Gaylor gave me an opportunity. My parents put me in a position of, having integrity, doing the right things. I talked about loving God, loving our neighbor, all the things it takes to have a character. John Gaylor gave me an opportunity, and that's exactly what we want to do for all our high school kids, everybody in the shop, our innovation production, you name it, across the nation. As we build America and we continue to provide jobs for America, and we build with customers that we love and appreciate, I think it is unstoppable.
I you don't know this, but even what you're talking about is so encouraging to me, Chuck, because so in 2005, I went out on my own and started my own electrical business.
Okay.
So this is 20 years. I'm not really in the business anymore. I'm on the board, and there's some guys that are running it.
Sure.
And one of the things that I learned, and I took a risk a few years ago, we started this process, was starting the process of giving pieces of the company to the men and women who were doing the work that don't carry my last name.
Right.
And so here in the next couple of weeks, we're actually going public with a couple of those guys who are becoming owners.
Nice.
And it's like, and the name of our company is Legacy. And I believe that legacy, you talk about, being here for the next 100 years. I believe that legacy is what people do after you're dead. And that's what you're doing here with these people. And it's like you're investing in them in a way that they are out there and they're going to continue this Gaylor experiment long after you're not here.
No, and I think John, John's mom, Barb Phillips, was a huge mentor of mine. She ran our education department. That it's kind of weird. They didn't have the last name, so I didn't know it for the first couple of years. It was John's mom. But I did notice she had a lot to say to John, so I thought, this is interesting. But she told me the same thing, right? You want to, this experiment continues to build careers and help people and support families and change lives. Is a huge win, not only for America, but for your local communities. And so I appreciate that story about your business. And, for us, there are so many awesome people here at Gaylor. I always comment how God blessed us with so many people in one company. Yeah. So many awesome people in one company is absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, it is about the people.
Yeah.
You cannot do what you're doing without the people.
Oh, absolutely.
That's one of the things that I've learned. It's like, and so then how do we attract those people? And you're doing it.
Yeah.
Because you're communicating that it's about them. And the other thing that's really cool about that is that innovation doesn't work with you alone in your office.
Right.
Innovation works when you have multiple people collaborating and talking and I can't get over your one-page business plan. I'm going to totally steal that.
Yeah.
Because that is genius. It shouldn't be more than one page.
I mean, no one reads it if it is.
Exactly. It's like a spec book.
Yeah, exactly. They find out when you're wrong with the spec when you do it wrong. Hey, I think it's a great point, because when you think about like-mindedness as a company, and you really consider what it takes to build, you know, a 1 million square foot data center.
Yeah.
I mean, the work of the people is incredible. And so, you know, when I think about this continued education, and we think about making yourself better, makes the company better, making the community better, building a great industry where people are attracted to, there is literally not a more, I hear this from folks all the time, that there's not a more rewarding career than the trades.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about that. When I was young, my dad was a landscaper on part-time after he got off the factory.
Yeah.
And we'd drive by houses, and he would tell me about him planting those trees or trimming those trees when I was young.
Yeah.
And the smile on his face was incredible. You know, and it is just incredible. Today, we got, I think this is the right number, 191 interns is what we had last year, or in the summer, May through August. 191, like 100 high school kids and 91 college. Okay, they came out here and they learned the business, they learned the industry, and you should see the exit interviews.
Come on.
You know, you talk about this purpose. These kids, you know, they may not have learned the best way as you know, maybe in a book.
Right.
You know, I wasn't a learner from a book either. I learned from pictures and doing. But they're so passionate once they see a purpose that their grade levels, they go from C to A students, because now they're connecting their studies with their job.
Yeah.
And they're like, the light comes on, right? The light comes on. And so that's how we got to continue to build and build our trades, and making sure that people understand the opportunities. We got to get in every high school across the nation, talk to them about, hey, guess what? You wouldn't have this high school right here if there wasn't electricians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree 100%. I always say that, you know, as electricians, we breathe life into buildings.
Absolutely.
You know, without the electrical work. And listen, I believe all trades matter, because we also can't build buildings alone.
No, I agree
with
that 100%.
You'd have a bunch of conduit racks coming out of the ground, and they wouldn't do a whole lot.
Wouldn't do anything.
I mean,
right.
But the reality is, that's one of the things that I love about the trades is you have to work together.
Yep.
Like, and the reason that listen, there is definitely favoritism in this podcast right now related to the electrical trade, but that's where we are.
Yeah.
But the reality is, the reason that I love the electrical trade so much is we have to work with everyone. And I think that's something, like, we have to work with the plumbers, we have to work with the concreters, we have to work with the painters, like everybody you have to work with. And that's so important in knowledge of education to learn for life, is how to work with people.
Oh, you know, and this people skill, I tell you this, you know, and you're right, it's a favorite, because that's where we're at, electrician. But, you know, I love all the trades. I mean, if you want to be a carpenter, we'll help you.
Come on.
We have a prep academy. We have somewhere between almost 1,000 students in our prep academies, associated builders and contractors across the state. Hey, look, the first year you're in it, you learn all trades: carpentry, plumbing, masonry. I mean, form work, electrical, mechanical, and then you can choose if you want to go into a special or you go through the general trades. And so it takes every one of us, and you're right, people skills of working together.
Oh my goodness.
And you know, it is awesome, the bond that is created when you're together and you're building something.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
It is.
No one did it themselves. You know, it's like there are no self-made people. Someone invested in you, right? I mean, that's how that works. And that's why mentor was my choice, because I've been fortunate. But working on a job site is absolutely the coolest thing, because you make friends.
100%.
All kinds of friends. I mean, it's amazing. Again, it's absolutely incredible to watch a job go up.
Yeah, it is incredible.
And that's why the trades are so important, and that's why we continue to build up the trades and make sure you understand it's a career, not a job, and we can change the world, you know. I mean, it is absolutely incredible.
I think that one of the things about the trades, and this is specific to electrical, but other trades can relate, it's one of those experiences. I was talking with an apprentice the other day, and he was on a shutdown.
Yeah.
It was like 30 hours.
Yeah.
Like they worked through the night, and I showed up on the job. I was not there for the 30 hours, but I showed up on the job at the end, and they were full of energy and excitement. The job superintendent took everybody out to breakfast.
Yeah.
And I pulled the one apprentice aside and I said, what was so, because with what we do here, I get to be involved in many different companies.
Sure.
And so I'm invited and I get to talk with people. And so I pulled this apprentice aside and I said, why are you so happy? You've been awake for a ridiculous amount of time. And like, he looked beat, like he had, you know, yellow 77 soap on his shoulder, you know, it was like the whole 9 yards. And he looks at me and he goes, I had so much fun because we had a task to complete. We had a purpose and we had a goal. And he goes, we were all in it together and we all came through it together.
Yeah.
That is something that you can't explain to someone unless you've experienced it. And that's what the trades does. When you talk about that, it's about the people that you work with and you get to experience that with each other. Absolutely. I would equate it to I remember being a young man and watching a movie called Black Hawk Down. And I say this a lot, but I'll remember there was this special forces guy in the movie and they're like, the end, you know, and it was grueling battle that they went through. And they're like, why do you do this? And he said, because it's about the man next to me.
Yep.
And I think that's what the trades are. It's about the men and women standing next to you. And then the work that they do, that you and I can live the lives that we live. Like, we're enjoying this air-conditioned room right now because of tradespeople. If you're listening to this right now, it's because of tradespeople that you can hear the internet.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, that's the reality of it. And so they're important.
Yeah, it's a great explanation. Lot of veterans here at Gaylor that continued on brotherhood, you know, just that, you know, the men and women at Gaylor are such a team.
Yeah, come
on.
on.
And they team with the trades that build the other buildings. I mean, I walk on some of those jobs and think, how in the world did that actually happen? Right? I mean, you think about it. And it's just the love of one another. It's the continued build-up of the people. You know, that's why supervision is so critical, because you're right. That superintendent takes out breakfast after 30 hours, and that kid had a goal.
Yeah.
They had a purpose, and I bring it back to purpose. They achieved it, and it overcomes any obstacle that you have in front of you.
Come on.
That team, and so it's just really cool to see. And you know, back when you was asking about Gaylor and all over, that team actually also sets the production goal, sets all that stuff, just like that turnover you've seen. And you know, I think that has a huge part of it too. Yeah. You don't want to let your next door person that's working on your team down. You just don't want to do it.
No.
And believe me, that's why safety is so critical in our business. I mean, you know, if you ever been on a job where someone gets hurt, it's demoralizing. It hurts their family. The whole job's hurt. And that's one huge part that we all have to do a better job of.
Yeah.
Every company that's in the trades has to do a better job of making sure our folks go home safe every day. And it is, you know, it's not a 8-hour task.
Yeah.
We've learned, I mean, it is 24/7
on,
because you can't come to work. You know, this whole discussion on total human health, right? I mean, you hear it, suicides in our business is too high. You get all that. Anything is, right? But the point is that when we build a safe, healthy environment, this is how we build a better industry, and this is how we attract our folks to it.
Absolutely.
And that, all of us together,
come on,
every company has to be a part of that. It can't be one or not. It's got to be scalable, and it's got to involve us all.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that it's essential for where we're going as an industry. And I love that you said it's not about just Gaylor. It's about all of these companies. It's about all of us deciding. And, you know, I think that it's not, people can think, oh, well, you're just being so noble. It's really not. It's about the profits, honestly, at the end of the day, because a healthy employee that is well-rounded is a more productive employee, is a better employee, is a safer employee. I just read a thing about, I don't know if you remember, it was a few years back, Deepwater Horizon had a failure, and it leaked out all this stuff, and they had avoided it's come to light that they had avoided some safety things that they shouldn't have avoided.
Yep.
And they did the math on how many years. If the reason they didn't do them was it would have held up production and they would have lost money. And they did the math on what it's costing them now and how many years they could have taken to get it right.
Yep.
It's kind of, and I think that's an important thing to learn, because it's like, actually, you are being more profitable by taking the time to think about what you're doing and how you're doing it. Hurry is never good.
You know, it's we talk about this all the time. Sharpen your axe.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yes.
To cut down the tree. You know that, and we talk about that all the time because we know this. We have a lot of statistics, and again, I'll just address. You know, profitability is a great thing. It's a great thing for a company. It's a great thing to invest in your people. Without it, none of that happens. So I'll address that because I know that there's a theory out there that, the profit's like bad. It's not. It's awesome, and it's how you build a company. Yeah. But I would say this. When it comes to building a productive job, the first thing is we know this from all our statistics. I measure everything. Is that a safe job is a more profitable job. It's a more productive job. It has higher quality.
Come on.
We see it all the time. Matter of fact, if you have a recordable on a job, your profit would most likely drop 25%.
Wow.
So if you're
nothing.
If you're no, it's not. I mean, if you're doing a 10% job, you're now at 7.5. You have a recordable. We got thousands of jobs on record there. So we know that they all are combined together. Sorry about that.
That's right.
All combined together. But when we have folks go home energized, when we have folks go home when they're talking about how great their day was, and we know they were productive and they were safe.
Yeah.
And so you're right. It's not I mean, of course, I think it is noble to build an industry, but
absolutely,
the reason we talk about it is because the customer, you know, when you prioritize customers, you know, building a safe job is a more productive, more profitable job for the customer too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. They get them open and a better quality, and I mean, it's absolutely essential.
Well, I remember I learned a very hard lesson early on in my business career about the lowest qualified number versus the lowest number.
Yeah, right.
And the lowest qualified number is someone who's taking the time to look at it right. Yeah. And that's going to save you, because you go with the lowest number, then you got to pay for the qualified number anyway later, and then beyond.
You just pay later on.
Exactly.
I tell you, that's a great. You know, that's exactly why you prioritize customers and to meet their needs, because you talk about teamwork, the customer has to be a huge part of that, and low numbers are most of the time not the right number.
Boy, that's the truth.
And you know, we look at that as we look at customers that value people that are making a difference in people's lives.
Yes.
And that's why I brought up, you know, we want everyone to know that if you're a customer and you invest in Gaylor Electric, you're changing the high school kid's life.
Right.
You're changing the folks that are on work release to put them back in the community to have a great career and build a family and make your community better. You're investing in a better way to do things. You're investing in an idea and an experiment that says there's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
And so, I would not say the low number is even close to the best number.
I think
I do love competition, though.
Oh, well, competition is good because it keeps us sharp.
Yep.
But I mean, I think you make a really good point that is insightful, and that is not just the people that align with you, or you used a certain phrase. What did you say? Your people here are like-minded.
Yeah, like-minded. Yeah.
Not just the people that are like-minded, but your customers are like-minded.
Yes.
That sounds like a secret to profitability right there. That is kind of bigger than you let on. Like, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, again, the reason customers are number one priority in our sales growth, value of sales growth, is that because of the customer, and we know that customer values what we do.
Yeah.
It goes all the way across the company. Electrician feels appreciated. The accounting department that's doing the AP feels appreciated because they know that customer is investing in Gaylor Electric.
Come on.
And that's how, to customers, when you build a relationship, it's a more productive job.
Yeah.
There's better quality. I think you said, legacy is what happens to an organization after you died or leave it, right? I think the same thing when you're looking at quality on a job, when no one's watching.
Come on.
When the customer appreciates what they're doing and Gaylor Electric appreciates what they're doing, they do it right.
Yeah.
There are no shortcuts, right? There's nothing to happen because they're like, hey, I don't want to let my teammate down.
Yeah.
And it's really cool phenomenon to watch when you have the customer with you. It's cool.
Well, and the other thing that does is then it amplifies trust.
It does.
And trust is the only way to be profitable. You have to be able to, you're talking about all these different places. You have to trust your people.
Yep.
Your customers have to trust you. And when you have that, when you trust your people and you trust your customers and vice versa, then you get win-win-wins.
Yep.
And that's where it's at. I mean.
No, I am. I'm telling you, the trust factor is the difference in a job.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's a huge difference maker because when the customer is confident and trust in you, and think about it, I mean, an employee is trusting of the organization is entrusted in the employee. That is the definition of win-win-win.
It is. Yeah.
Because, you're taking on a huge amount of risk on these jobs. They're huge. It's a huge amount of risk. Remember I talked about title? And the customer's taking on a tremendous amount of risk at building the job. They've got goals they've got to hit. And, the end user is taking on risk because they're like, okay, I'm hiring people to make sure they're ready for October. So you got to finish in October. Those kind of things together are what really makes a project. And you know what? You can feel it.
Yeah.
You can walk on a job and know it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can just see it when you got guys and girls working together on the job. You can watch the teamwork. You can watch the customer. When something goes bad, the customer's right in there with you helping. I mean, you can feel it. You just know it.
Yeah. I love it. I know you have a hard stop. We have just a couple minutes left.
Okay.
I want to ask you this next question.
All right.
Chuck, what's a mistake that you have made that you would be willing to share with those out there that you've learned from, that you feel like you could communicate value by sharing that with us?
Well, it's a great question because for a guy like me, like I said, if you're not making any mistakes, then you're probably not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I probably have more than many. But first of all, I love your show. I know you're probably gonna come to a close, but we just all can do better at making this industry and careers better.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you talking about that. Well, remember I talked about mentors.
Yeah.
So one day, I had this guy come and talk to me. He's from the South. He's like, I'm going to sell you my company. And I didn't really run that by a lot of people, and probably should have. That thing, I spent quite a bit of money, lost a lot of money. And then had to give it back to the guy because it was terrible. It was terrible for us.
Wow.
It was terrible for them. The values didn't align. We weren't like-minded. And so, I could have done a whole lot better than I did in that kind of experience in my life. So I like growing internally.
Yeah.
I'm not a big acquisition guy. I've had some pretty tough experiences with that. But I always just tell people this, just measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
And once you start cutting without measurement, it's just it's a real bad thing, and it's hard to unwind.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of your time, and you kind of like, why didn't I run that by a couple people? I would have probably not made that mistake. So I love growing internally and investing in our people.
That's
and
really good.
that acquisition really hurt me, and it set me back. It set me back personally, and it set us back as a company. So just measure twice, cut once.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Chuck, I so appreciate your time. I believe time is money. So you've invested in us here today with your time, and I greatly appreciate that. I love what Gaylor is doing. One last question. We got just enough time because I promised one of your guys I would ask you this question, and I think it's a great way to end.
All right.
Do you know how to wire a three-way switch?
That's a great question. I would never demean an electrician to say that I'm an electrician. I did go through apprenticeship school. We require all of our project engineers to go through the apprenticeship school.
Really?
So if they graduate in college,
That's genius.
they go through the apprenticeship school. So I went through the apprenticeship school. I think I graduated in like 2 or 3. What happens now if I need something wired at my house? I call Gaylor Electric.
That was a wise answer. I am impressed. Chuck, again, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
thank you for stepping up to the line. And thank you for what you're doing to build America.
Oh, thank you very much. It was great being on with you.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you.